Welcome into my world. You're playing my game. Thought that you could come up and they're fitting off of my name. Talking out the side of your neck like you're insane. Cortisol levels to the roof. Inflame. Kids these days so shameless. Selling out real friends for a paycheck. Mama didn't teach them no home training. Wanna be me so bad, but they failing. Step to the plate though. I'll take a challenger. I ain't scared of no low life scavenger. I should warn you though, if you haven't heard, I ain't no Colleen ukulele ballanger. Shots been fired. Wanna tell that? Say it to my face though. Now behind my back. Won't be long till you share it in the group chat. And when I call you up, you're gonna backtrack. And you should've kept my name out your mouth. That's though how it all turned out. When you try to use my name for clout, keep on going. Give me something you can talk about.
Hello, everybody. How you doing this fine? What is it? Oh, it's Valentine's Day, February 14th. A little piece of debris in my hair. Paper. Okay. Happy Valentine's Day, and all that. So we do have a lot to cover on the Nancy Guthrie front. I did take yesterday off. I had some things to do, pre-planned by the travel department, pre-approved by the travel department. So, the last few days before yesterday, the last few days that I was covering this case and doing my little live streams and stuff, it started to just kind of feel like nothing was happening. Like, okay, they found a glove on the side of the street 2 miles away. The sheriff isn't giving any updates, and, other than us seeing Amazon and pizza delivery drivers be able to traipse right up to Nancy Guthrie's front door, there really wasn't that much being, I don't know, not that much progress, I'll say. And I just want to just say this part right here, right now. They're still trying to go with this whole idea, this whole notion that this is some type of amateur. If this is an amateur, they need to stop saying it. They just need to start lying. I mean, they have no problem lying to us about other stuff. They just need to start lying and saying this is so sophisticated. This is unlike anything we've ever seen in our entire lives. Because if they're trying to make this seem like this was somebody that was initiated into this criminal lifestyle, some amateur, then I actually have some extremely and extraordinarily serious doubts about the state of our national security, the state of any of our security. I mean, Jesus Christ, like, this is an amateur and he could take a very high profile woman's mother out of her house in the middle of the night, and the F freaking BI can't even figure it out in 2 weeks. Whether the woman is dead or alive. Okay, no, you need to just say this was like, oh my God, this is a complex civilization from another galaxy or something at this point, because it's just embarrassing and it's not instilling anything but fear into the hearts of millions. Okay, so anyway, I have some updates anyway we're going to talk about. So last night, a bunch of stuff popped off. It was chaos. It was calamity. And I was kind of checking in a little bit online, following along from here and here and there and time to time yesterday. And especially last night, once things really started to, like I said, kind of pop off. But I mean, you wake up this morning and it's like, no arrests have been made. No, still not even a step closer to figuring out what happened to Nancy, if anything. I mean, at this point, I'm like, did Nancy get a nosebleed and just like walk to her friend's house? And, I mean, at this point, who knows? This is incredible in the way that, like, it, not in a good way, in a way where it doesn't seem credible. Like, it's just starting to just be a little bit silly. I mean, it all really started with the theatrics, frankly. I'm just going to call it like it is. The theatrics of this family. Savannah Guthrie wants to pull on all of our heartstrings and use our tax dollars to offer up all of us hardworking Americans paying taxes. She wants to use our tax dollars to find her mama. Why she's not putting her dollars up? I mean, honestly, I know that her mother is missing, supposedly, but nothing anybody in this family is doing is comporting with what I would think would happen if your mother was missing. And then, moving on from that, you have the weird ass sheriff. You have the fact that Mark Kelly, a United States senator, who's in the legislative branch, not the law enforcement branch, and he's the one who called the cops. You have seemingly no 911 call. We have dispatch calls, no 911 call. The lady was at church. Oh, no, she wasn't at church. Oh, no, she was supposed to be at church. Oh, no, actually, she was supposed to be at her friend's house watching a live stream of church. The church comes out and says, yeah, she's a member of our congregation. The very next day, a totally different church all the way in New York is apparently the church. It's just, okay, like, come on, please. Can we get the story straight real quick before y'all tell us anything else? Last night it was reported there were arrests. Then it was reported they weren't arrests. Then it was reported they were detainments. The full SWAT team was out. So we're going to get into some of that today in today's live stream. I did come on here on a Saturday because if I don't, I mean, it's going to be so many things, so many non-things happening that I'm not going to even be able to get to all of them. But this is actually one of the more out of date, not out of date. I still think it is relevant, but like, this is the first thing I had on my line items list from a couple days ago. And this is a sketch artist. So look, famed Houston crime scene sketch artist, Lois Gibson. Okay, so this is a crime sketch artist. So this is for somebody famed. She's very famous. Lois Gibson has released a sketch in the missing persons case of Nancy Guthrie based on a masked person seen on the doorbell. She said this. I guessed at the parts of the face that were covered up, which was most of the face. So she's just guessing here. But this is her job. I mean, it's not like a message from the mothership. Like she does this as her job or one of her jobs. She is a crime sketch artist. And now we do have AI programs and computer programs that do this. But for really, I mean, centuries, we've needed specialized artists who can reconstruct someone's face from an extremely far away image or very blurry image, or from their face being described by an eyewitness or a victim or whatever in these scenes. So this is her best shot at doing just that. She said I had to guess about the parts of the face that are covered, which is like basically the whole face. These are the eyebrows that she does have here. And she has a very square face person, a little bit uneven face. This side of the face is different than this side. She said I had to guess at the parts of the face which were covered with the ski mask. I used the surveillance photos shown. I spent 43 years at a job trying to help detectives with similar photos. Only thing I'm somewhat sure about are eyes and part of lips and mustache. I'll take the hit if I'm drastically wrong. Don't criticize. Do your own version. Okay, Slay, shout out to her. So let me give y'all a really up close look at her attempt at, what may be hiding behind that mask. And shout out to her for trying, and she does say, take with a grain of salt. Only thing I'm somewhat sure about are the eyes, it's the things you can see. And she's like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay, so let me pull up the next line item. Okay. So there is this here. JLR Investigates apparently spoke with a family member and he tweeted, not a family member. Excuse me. He apparently spoke with a neighbor who had some things to say about this family and the house specifically. The neighbor is out here with us. He said the family is creepy. Always kept the blinds closed. The lights were always off. She never comes out. Said it could be a rental. They have a dog. Oh, this is not about the Nancy Guthrie house. I'm realizing now. This is about, this is not about that. This is about a house that I think the police did do a raid on, a search warrant search on last night. So this is a live stream. I'm doing this as I go. I'm also trying to catch up on this as well. So I'm realizing now upon further investigation upon reading this again, that I don't think he's talking about Nancy Guthrie. I think he's talking about the family that lived in the house. There was some detainments last night we will get into. But apparently about that house, they're creepy, according to a neighbor. Always keeps the blinds closed, the lights off, never comes out. Said it would be could be a rental. They have a dog. He doesn't know the people's names. And then where is Nancy Guthrie? Okay, so we'll get more into that as we go down the list. But speaking of a creepy family member, Savannah Guthrie's husband the high-level Democratic PR operative or whatever, Michael Feldman, he has been spotted for the first time publicly by the paparazzi in this entire investigation. So this is him right here. Savannah Guthrie's husband breaks cover at, and this one's right here, real happy. She's too happy. Breaks cover at Florida airport for the first time since his mother-in-law's disappearance. And it's a Daily Mail article. I can only assume that somebody alerted the Daily Mail that this man was going to be there. You know how TMZ gets alerted that, oh, Lynn Spears is going to be at the airport. Lou Taylor and Robin Greenhill are going to be landing. So somebody, I believe, did alert Daily Mail that this man, Savannah Guthrie's husband, was going to be landing in Florida. Now, interesting, he's landing in Florida. I don't think Savannah Guthrie lives in Florida. I don't think they're from Florida. I think she lives in New York. So what was Savannah Guthrie's husband doing in Florida is anyone's guess. But where did the sheriff send that glove off that the FBI is so mad about? The FBI is so mad that the sheriff didn't send this glove off to Quantico, the FBI, the feds lab in Virginia. But where did that glove get sent? It got sent to the private lab that the Pima County Sheriff's Department contracts with in Florida. Now, if you hear the sheriff talk about it, what he's going to tell you is this is completely ordinary, average, normal stuff. We've been using this crime lab for 30, 40 years. But, here's Savannah Guthrie's husband being reported yesterday as having landed in Florida. For what? Who knows, girl? I don't know. Savannah's husband was spotted in public for the first time since the disappearance of Nancy. He was spotted touching down in Florida with his children. Okay, I don't know if that means Savannah's children too, if he has his own children apart from her. I'm not really sure. I do know that is her second marriage. So at least that's what's been reported. I don't know. I didn't look at the, marriage certificates or anything. He wore sunglasses and appeared somber and serious in images captured upon his arrival. He was accompanied by his 11-year-old daughter, Vale, and his 9-year-old son, Charlie. That's how they spell Charlie for a boy. Oh my God. Whom he shares with Savannah. So that's her kids, Vale and Charlie. The family, toting several pieces of luggage, was escorted by at least 3 security officials. Savannah was not there. It's unclear where their flight arrived from. The husband, Michael Feldman, spoke out about Nancy's disappearance for the first time on Tuesday in an Instagram post. Oh, I didn't know that. Let's go to that. Oh, they must have deleted that article. Huh. He asked the public for help in identifying the masked figure spotted at the 84-year-old's home. Savannah Guthrie's husband. Okay, there he is right there. And this lady right here is just very extremely happy. I guess this is the security guard. I mean, I don't know who any of these people are. This is apparently the husband. And there's the back of the kid's head. I guess that's him right there. Okay, so he wrote, someone out there may recognize this person. Please help us bring her home. His post, so this is the kind of like title of their PR campaign, Bring Her Home. They're all saying that, like the two of the 4 videos the family put out are entitled Bring Her Home when you download them from Instagram. The big sign out in front of Savannah's first news anchor job says Bring Her Home, and people can go sign it. And then the husband is also re-perpetuating the PR slogan, which is Bring Her Home. PR slogans often will, and PR campaigns often will rely on a literary or a rhetorical device known as repetition. And so repetition, bring her home, 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 bring her home is the repetition that I'm seeing from this PR campaign. His post included doorbell images capturing the individual. The FBI described the suspect 5'9" or maybe 5'10", male with an average build. Feldman and Guthrie got married about 12 years ago outside of Tucson. They now live in Brooklyn, New York. Nancy was last seen entering her home on January 31st after having dinner with her daughter Annie, her son-in-law Tommaso, and her grandchildren. The next morning, she was reported missing when she failed to attend a virtual church service with friends. The investigation into Nancy's kidnapping is nearing the 2-week mark after she was forcibly taken from her $1 million home. Um, Savannah and her siblings have repeatedly pleaded with the public to aid in the search for their mother. They've made multiple videos on Friday. So this was a big break in the case yesterday. A lot of this stuff is kind of nothing burgers, but this right here, I think, is one of the most important breaks in the case, period, to date. And and that has to do with the DNA found inside Nancy's home. Okay. So DNA takes, even if you expedite it, even if you do it as fast as possible, it still takes some time. It's not instantaneous. And so they had found some stuff inside Nancy's home and they sent it off to be tested. Well, apparently they eliminated from they eliminated from the list anybody, the DNA. They took this DNA and they matched. Remember, they were swabbing the gardeners, they were swabbing the family members, they were swabbing any and everybody that they could. And come to find out, they did find some presumably like strangers' DNA in the home. I'm starting to wonder, is this like a romance scam? Was this lady being romance scammed? I mean, like, I'm just starting to wonder what, like, at this point, it's difficult to not like have your mind run a little wild. But they did find some DNA that wasn't Nancy's and it wasn't for her family, and it presumably wasn't for any of the gardeners or anything like that. It says on Friday, investigators discovered, or they learned, that DNA found on Nancy's property during the investigation didn't belong to her family or anyone close to her. Now, this whole on her property, does that mean inside her house? Because if it was just on the property, I'm going to tell you right now, that's not going to pass muster. They didn't close that crime scene down. Everybody and anybody could have been on that property. I mean, Brian Enton walked right up to the doorstep. So I'm hoping what they found was actually inside the home, but we will have to see. DNA other than Nancy's has been collected from the property. This is what the sheriff said, adding that investigators are working to identify who it belongs to. They're not disclosing where it was found. Investigators also found several gloves roughly 2 to 10 miles from Nancy's home. Reports that a glove was found inside the residence are inaccurate. Okay, so the day before yesterday, it was all over the news, flying to and fro here and there, that there was a glove found inside Nancy's house. A glove was recovered. And a lot of us, including definitely me over here on this channel, I was like, y'all just found the glove on February 12th inside her house? What is really going on? No, it wasn't inside her house. It was not found inside her house. That glove was not. But what was found inside her house, according to the sheriff, what was found inside her house was DNA, and it wasn't hers. Well, excuse me, on her property. They're refusing to say it was inside her house. So we can't even specifically say for sure that the DNA was found inside her house. It was found on the property. Now, that's going to be a big problem because the sheriff did not close that crime scene down. We saw delivery people. We saw Amazon package on the front step. We saw somebody deliver an Amazon package yesterday to Nancy Guthrie's house. There's been, like I said, reporters on the scene. There's been journalists on the scene. Brian Enton walked straight up to the doorstep, filmed that blood, what is been tested and has proven to be Nancy's. So, okay, what, they found somebody's DNA on the property. So what? So what? If they found somebody's DNA in the house, that would be a much bigger break, in my opinion. This is going to turn into a cold case, somebody said. Okay, officials said the evidence requires forensic analysis and it will be sent to the same out-of-state lab in Florida where Savannah Guthrie's husband and children just landed. And I keep getting a Scientology vibe. I'm going to keep saying it because I do. I just do. A Scientology or some culty religion, some culty cult. I feel like it's some culty cult shit going on. That's one of the only things that can really explain why this investigation has stalled out like this. You're telling me the full force of the FBI and a whole sheriff's department, we got almost 1,000 people working on this case in an official capacity, the full force of Google, somebody's covering up for somebody. That's just has to be what's going on, because there's no way the most elite forces in the country, some of the most elite in the world, can't find this old lady. No. They have flock cameras. They have ring cameras. They might want to act like They don't have it yet. They got it. They know who did this. They know who to ask. They know who to arrest. Maybe they don't know who did it, but they know some things that they're not acting on. And for me, it's like, are they covering up? Who, and if they are, for who? That's my opinion. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. There's the husband right there. He looks like a Zuckerberg type, if you ask me. Nanos told ABC News the DNA they have from the family and household will help. Oh, sorry. The family and the household help they will now go through and try to eliminate people. He has been criticized for his handling of the case. Yeah, I mean, it's been a complete circus, with federal officials telling Reuters the sheriff was to blame for the earlier setbacks. Yeah, the FBI has been throwing stones at this guy. Now, I don't even know if it's necessarily the case that this guy is the one who's covering up for somebody. It might be the feds. I don't know. I just feel like they know stuff they're not telling us, and there's a reason they're not telling us. And I just got to wonder who their loyalties are to, because it doesn't seem like it's to us. Now, again, I reserve the right to change my mind. Maybe they are working on stuff in the back end we don't know about, and we will have to see how it goes. What are they standing on? Vanity Fair. All seeing eye. The sheriff recently told Fox News Savannah Guthrie had texted him she has her own people and she didn't need him. Oh my God. However, Sheriff Nanos told ABC he is continuing the investigation as he and the investigators planned to return to the home Friday to determine the weight of the suspect. Okay. So they were going to go back to yesterday to try to determine the weight of the suspect. That's interesting. More than 30,000 tips from the public have been received by law enforcement. FBI has offered $100,000 of our hard-earned tax dollars to help find this lady. And Savannah Guthrie and her rich-ass husband don't appear to have offered up any money at all. Hey, guys, my mama's missing. I got $1 million for you. TMZ, hey, hi. Hi, everybody. It's been 2 weeks since my mom went missing. So I guess instead of contacting TMZ, can you just contact me? I will send you a Bitcoin. Not we don't get any of that. They can fly across the country. They can't offer a couple thou. We got to pay for these rich people to find their rich family members that are probably getting held by their own family. I mean, I'm just, it does start to get on your nerves because they're pulling on all our heartstrings. They're making a big rigmarole about a freaking glove every 5 minutes. And it's like, this is the goddamn FBI, excuse my language. Anyway. What's next on my list? There have been 2 major detainments. Okay. This comes from Brian Enton. One detainment, they're calling it a detainment. It's called a detention. But see, this is an issue that comes up a lot. I even had somebody trying to be sassy bitchy with me in my chat the other day, trying to tell me how it works. Like, I don't already freaking know. But the cops can call anything. All right. They can call anything. When it goes to trial, when it goes to a judge to determine, when it goes to a jury to determine, that's whenever stuff is actually decided on. So in a situation where you are under arrest, when you are under, or when any citizen or any person is under arrest by the police, certain of your rights kick in. The right to remain silent, the Miranda rights, anything you say will and can and will be held against you in a court of law. You have the right to what else? An attorney. That's the 6th Amendment. You have the right to an attorney of your choice, or if you can't afford an attorney, one will be even given to you at the investigative detention and at the arrest stage. Well, so then what that has led, obviously, cops to do over the years is to just say he wasn't under arrest. It was just a brief investigative detention. It was brief detention. Well, then courts, and namely the Supreme Court, has come out and said, okay, look, y'all want to play word games? That's fine. Go ahead and continue doing that. But if you have somebody in handcuffs and they're at the station and they're not free to go, and it's hours long, and you're blocking the doors and they face threat of arrest if they leave, they are under arrest. You've arrested them. And so not only is that important for a bright line, yes, no, arrest, no, it's really important for their rights. So once you have someone under arrest, you are supposed to read them. You have to constitutionally, law enforcement has to read them their rights. But it's Miranda versus the state of Arizona, by the way, is where the case for Miranda comes from. So they're saying nobody's been arrested, and I say bullshit. That's what I say. Now, they might have arrested and let some people go, but Carlos was arrested, in my opinion. This is not legal advice. Carlos and the rest of them should go hire an attorney in their jurisdiction. And if you are ever arrested, you should say, this is not legal advice, but one option of things that you can say is, if you're in handcuffs, am I free to leave? If the answer is no, don't answer any freaking questions until a lawyer shows up. Now, you might feel like you want to answer questions. You didn't do nothing wrong, this, that, the other. Then you don't have to, girl. I'm not your mama. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not your lawyer, and I'm not anybody's lawyer, and I don't represent clients. But as for me, if I'm arrested in the back of a police car, if I'm handcuffed in the back of a police car, I'm considering that to be an arrest. And we can let the judge sort it out later. But I'm not going to be answering any freaking questions if you're not going to cooperate with me. What do you mean? Under the threat of I'm going to get arrested if I don't answer questions? Okay, then I'm under arrest already. The question you ask is, am I free to leave? Oh, I just wanted to ask you some questions, officer. All due respect, that's not my question. Can I leave? Am I free to leave? Because the answer for all 3, or maybe up to 4 of these detainments was no for several hours. You got put in a car, you got brought to the station in question. That's an arrest as far as any defense attorney worth their paycheck is going to say, you have arrested my client. So we better hope that they did read those Miranda rights to those people. We really better hope they did. Okay. What is my next line item? So they're calling them, used to be they would call them detention, investigative detention. It means that you just detain them, or arrest, let's call it what it is, for long enough to ask a few questions. And then if you can't get what you need, you do have to let them go. They're free to go. So now they don't even call it detention no more, because detention sounds like a detention center. It sounds like arrest, right? So they like to just play around with words. So now they're calling them detainments. Okay, it's not detention, it's a detainment. It's an arrest. They did arrest people, in my opinion, but they now have let them go. They always use the term detain. No, now they're calling it detainment instead of detention. Oh, wow. Good point. Ooh, hoo. Oblivy. I didn't think about this. Wow. You're so right. Oblivy said they use that detention for other stuff too. Even if you don't talk, you eventually need a sip of water, a snack. You touch something. Then they get your DNA. That's such a good point. Callie said, you got me over here arfing like a seal. And y'all can do what y'all want. But yeah, no. Yes, the theme song is available on Spotify. It's Gorianna, and is my music making name. It's just me. And then it's called A Squirrel is Acting Up. This is, yes, Made of Questions said, my problem isn't even with detainment. It's with searching people's homes based on exigency. But the exigency is based on nothing. The cops can't be forcing themselves into people's homes without some kind of proof. And I totally agree. You do supposed to need probable cause to go into someone's home and shuffle around in their personal private effects. But if they have some kind of reasonable, articulable, like reason that's based on a very specific tip or a lead to think that someone might unalive or that they might destroy evidence, then the feds and the cops do have Unfortunately, they do have the ability. I mean, unfortunately for us, because we're not doing anything wrong over here. We're not doing crimes over here on this channel. But, sometimes people really did do crimes and they really did unalive somebody and they really will destroy that evidence. So there are times where it's like, oh, I just saw the guy with the gun. He ran into that house and he's going to pew pew someone else. Okay, fine. These are like very end of the spectrum type of examples, but sometimes it's like somebody called in and made a false report and then they're just busting down somebody's door. So I have a big problem with that when that does happen as well. I don't know if either of those things have happened in this particular case. But yeah, that would be a problem for sure. So they've apparently detained 2 or 3 people last night. One was in a neighborhood in Tucson about 2 miles from Nancy's house. A man and a woman were detained and, like I put next to it, arrested ? And a source tells Brian Enton that maybe it was a mother and a son who were detained, but we really don't know. Now, there was something else, big break that happened last night in the evidence, and that is that they did tow a vehicle. It was supposedly a Range Rover. So as you can see here, this is a 1:35 in the morning, my time. So this would have been about 11:45 last night, local time to where they are. And JLR is saying that the feds were towing a Range Rover. There was an update 10 hours ago. So this is about the same time frame. Karen put it up, update from the sheriff at another location now related. Pima County Sheriff's law enforcement activity is underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue. Oh, I know where this is. We've seen this address before. Who remembers Orange Grove and North First Avenue? I remember Orange Grove and East First Avenue. That was the mask. Remember, it was like unconfirmed by any official sources, but those people were listening to the scanner, the police scanners. And there was a girl that called in, or someone called in and said they found a ski mask near their house and they were at 100. So I don't know if that was like 100 or if it was actually 100100 as the full address. Let me just pull it up. So again, unconfirmed. This is from days ago. This is from this was on the 11th and today's the 14th, but we're doing a little live investigation here. We're just members of the public. I have no insider information and I'm not attesting that this is even credible. There's probably been so many fake things coming through, but just listen.
Maybe 100 East First Avenue. Caller said she found a ski mask on the ground in the alley near her garage. It looks like the same mask the assailant was wearing in the Nancy Guthrie case.
Someone found a mask. Let me hear it again.
100 East First Avenue.
East First Avenue. East First Avenue. Okay. So here we are at East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue. Well, do you remember the other day we're talking about that? It was the same day we were talking about that. And somebody had walked up to JLR Investigates during his live stream. And I've been watching his live streams all day. And somebody walked in up to him from on the live stream and said that he was like, oh, I've been watching your videos. It was a man. He said, I've been watching your videos and I have a tip. I want to tell you, I have a tip to report. I was over there by the Home Depot earlier and I saw him searching. It was the same day that the New York Post took a picture of that guy, of that detective finding a glove. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember this day, if you remember me talking about this stuff. Because like sometimes I'm like, remember? And it's like, I don't know if y'all actually remember. Like, do I just sound like I'm schizo posting? It was the same day as that. And it was the same day as the mask. And it was like, oh, a mask and a glove. It was the first glove. And it was like a picture of it and all that. Well, that same day, A man walked up to JLR Investigates and said, I have a tip to tell you. I was over there by the Home Depot earlier today. And I saw the Homeland Security Investigations people searching. And they were poking around in the brush and the bushes and everything. And JLR said, I'm going to go over there. What was the address? Like, what was it around? And the man said, Orange Grove Avenue and East First. Hold on. Let me find it. Black glove. Post was there. Let me see. This was on, I think, the same day, February 11th. Yep. Oh, no, not ski. I want. Okay. I have it in my notes, February 2nd. Some guy talking to JLR about going by the Home Depot, and they were all searching around. And JLR asked him, he said, what is the address? Because I want to go. And the guy said, First Avenue and Orange Grove area. And I even pulled a map up. Put a one in the chat. You remember me pulling that map up? Let me pull it up. Orange Grove. All that happened on Orange Grove that day. February 11th, supposedly unconfirmed ski mask reported on near East First. And then you have Orange Grove and East First as the place that the guy gave a tip to JLR. And I pulled it up on the map. I'm going to pull it up again right now. Orange Grove and East First Street, Tucson. Or did he say East or did he just say First? He said First. He said First. Some guy talking to JLR about going to the Home Depot, and they were all searching around. First Avenue and Orange Grove area. Okay. First Avenue and Orange Grove, Tucson. Okay. And then I do have the maps pulled up here. Okay. So this is like the area where this guy was giving JLR a tip. He was like First Avenue and Orange Grove area. So we can kind of zoom out a little bit. Okay, there's Orange Grove. It goes all the way across the middle, and then the First Avenue goes here. But First Avenue, whether it be North First, East First, whatever, this First Avenue has been coming up in the case a lot. But look, last night, 10 hours ago, law enforcement activity, and this is from the Pima County Sheriff now. Law enforcement activity is underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue. Okay, so let's look that up. East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue. This is it right here. That's what we were at just now. So this is like about around where, did I lose my spot here? Let's see. Yeah. This is about around where the police activity was going on. Okay. That's according to their public announcement, East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue. So somewhere around here. Okay. This is very interesting to me because, again, we were told this is where, by the tipster on the JLR live stream, that this is about somewhere near on this road, at least for First Avenue and Orange. We're told that's where he saw people poking around. Then there was that ski mask apparently on First Avenue. So we're getting a little bit of, I don't know, more activity on this Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue. Joint investigation at the request of the FBI. We're not going to give any more information. Okay. But the feds were towing a Range Rover. Okay. So let's get back to a little bit on this Range Rover. I hadn't even really put the Orange Avenue thing together when I was making my line item list for today. So I wanted to make sure that that had some attention paid. Okay. So JLR investigates. Okay. So they did tow this Range Rover, and the police apparently put a piece of paper over the license plate. Now, this Range Rover is from MB Motors. We don't know, because there is a piece of paper over the license plate, what the vehicle was towed for. Now, what I find to be interesting is it was being reported so widely last night that this was having to do with the Nancy Guthrie case. And even if nobody reported it, it is pretty freaking obvious because this is the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff working together to tow a vehicle. Now they're saying now the sheriff has said this morning to, I think it was, where's Matt Finn work at? Is he ABC, NBC? Who's he work for? Matt Flynn, young man he's got brown hair. He's wearing a hat today. What's his name? Matt Flynn. He said that the sheriff told him he can't confirm this is related to the Nancy Guthrie investigation, but like everybody was reporting that it had to do with the Nancy Guthrie investigation. So I don't know if it did or didn't, but it seems almost impossible that it didn't have to do with the Nancy Guthrie investigation because the FBI was on the scene. And we are going to talk about a body. Okay. We are going to talk about the body. Did I see Dolly walk up on the individual body? No, but we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to get into my opinions on it. If there was one found, why wouldn't everybody be reporting on it? I don't know, especially TMZ now. They might be locked up. They might not locked up like in jail or something. What I mean is like gagged because they have received now 3. That was another thing that happened in the last few days. They have received now 3 purported supposed ransom demands themselves. So maybe there's certain things at this point they're just not even allowed to say either. I don't know, but we will talk about that supposed body. Shout out to Rabbit in the chat. Rabbit, shout out to her. Really was Rabbit's coverage on this case that finally pushed me over the edge to start covering it. So for better or worse, y'all owe it to Rabbit that I'm talking about this. Shout out to Rabbit in the chat. Down the rabbit hole news. I always do say shout out to Rabbit. Put some rabbits in the chat. Make sure you do put some rabbits in the chat. But I guess apparently some of y'all still somehow, some way, God forbid, don't know who Rabbit is. Her channel name is Down the Rabbit Hole News. And she is an excellent YouTuber, excellent reporter. Completely not biased in my opinion. When she is biased, she'll tell you her bias and she ain't working for nobody from what I could tell. You know, I love that. I like whenever I know that the opinion I'm getting from a YouTuber is their opinion or that they're going to be extremely transparent with where they got the opinion from. So that I really like. She also has an excellent, perspective because she's very educated. She got a master's degree in, I think it's social work or psychology or something like that. So she has actually experience on the inside of working like with the state and things like that. So she has a really good perspective from a mental health understanding and all of that. Like a lot of things that I don't really know about, she does. So I find her channel and her information she puts out, her videos, to be extremely well done and to have really great perspective and just really good all around. Okay. She did not pay me to say that. I really mean it. Okay, so here's the supposed Range Rover. Now, because the sheriff has come out and said they can't confirm if this is related to Nancy, I think it is. But okay, fine. You know, I just do want to say they didn't confirm officially this morning to Matt Finn or whatever his name is that this was related to Nancy. But there was a Range Rover that was towed, and we're going to talk a lot about this Range Rover, or at least somewhat extensively. Now they did cover up the license plate. Now there was this lady right here, y'all. I don't know who forgot to tell me they had my aunt on Fox News. But she talks around this part of the video. This is a video came out 2 hours ago. Forensic expert reveals why she believes revenge could be behind the Guthrie case. And the reason I wanted to show y'all this video, I'm not going to show you the whole video. It's like 6-7 minutes long. I want to show y'all one part of it. This lady kind of talks about how they're treating this crime scene. Actually, let me go to this first because I want y'all to see. It says update. Range Rover 2 miles from tonight's SWAT raid confiscated from Culver's, that's a restaurant, by the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Tarp initially was placed over the entire vehicle. License plate is now covered. Law enforcement approached slowly with flashlights. What was inside? So here is a 49-second video from This is a video posted by Kev Posobiec. I'm sorry, do not know who this guy is. Maybe that's him, maybe it isn't. Shout out to him for being boots on the ground, real America's voice. I don't know who this is exactly, but let's listen to and look with our own eyes at what was on this scene. This is a 49-second video about the Range Rover.
All right, guys, once again, I'm back. Right behind me, I'm at the Culvers, about 2 miles away from the previous location where the SWAT raid happened. And this brave Ranger has been confiscated. The license plate has been covered on the back. It was previously covered in a whole tent. So this is definitely in control.
What was that? There's the Range Rover. I want to take a screenshot of it because I want to ask the robot. I'm going to ask the robot what year, make, model, whatever. It'll know. Just taking a screenshot here. But this is the Range Rover that was supposedly towed last night. As you can see, there has been a piece of yellow paper put up over the license plate. You can't even see which state the license plate is from. You can kind of narrow it down somewhat, because if you Google like which states, you could narrow it down somewhat, because some states require the license plate to be on the front and the back. If there's no paper on the front, that means it's from one of the states that doesn't require it to be on the front and the back. But you know, other than that, I don't know how else you would really be able to narrow down even which state this is from or registered. Okay, there it is on the tow truck, and it's being towed. Okay, this is one of the, oh shoot, I'm not even showing y'all. Let me go back. Hold on. We're like halfway through. So you see the Range Rover. There's some piece of orange paper right here. The paper is covering up the license plate. You can't see which state it's from. That's what I was showing y'all, trying to show y'all a while ago. There it is on the trailer. Okay, so there's that. But there's like a picture I want to show y'all too before I get to this lady talking about what that means. Okay. Oh, see, this starts happening. I should have taken a screenshot. There's a lot of stuff now that has been deleted. There's a lot of stuff that's been deleted. Now, some of the stuff I was able to see myself before it got deleted, but see this tweet I had on the line items list? This tweet I had on the lines items list is gone. Somebody took it down. But what it was in the tweet was a guy. There was a guy inside that Range Rover. Apparently, this is what the tweet had said. Now, as you can see, the tweet's gone. It's gone. But there was a guy inside of the Range Rover, and he was just sitting there not moving. And there was somebody on the scene with a camera, like a cell phone or a camera or whatever, but he was recording, and it said, or a picture. I don't remember now. You know, it's deleted. I have like 25 line items, 30, almost 30 if you count the little sub line items. So I don't know, you know, please take with a grain of salt. It's now been deleted. But there was a picture of a guy in a Range Rover. I saw the picture myself before this tweet was deleted. I don't know, you know, I didn't think it would be deleted, so I didn't take too much stock of it. But it was a guy in a Range Rover, and he was like this. And it looked like he was asleep, or maybe he was, you know, who knows. And no, it was not Dolly. I know who Dolly is. It was not Dolly. It was not Dolly. It was someone else. But it was someone else who said, I do think that there's a guy that's not alive in this Range Rover. I think there's a guy in there not alive. Now, this tweet is gone. So it could have been a troll. It could have been a fake picture. Banfield has what on her channel? What does she have on her channel? You took a screenshot. If y'all have any screenshots of anything debunked, send it to me, because somebody's saying I took a screenshot. Somebody's saying it was debunked as a reflection of a cop. Maybe so. I would need to see it again. It's gone now. I can't investigate. Was it the Range Rover that was in an accident, or was this the traffic stop? It was the one that was it was the traffic stop. It was the traffic stop, which is a good question, Kiss, because these are different. Is there 2 Range Rovers? You know, we do need to talk about that as well. Banfield has which video? When y'all say stuff like Banfield has the video, I have about 600 line items of things from the past week. You're going to have to be like, I'm not even trying to be mean. Like, you have to be so much more specific. If you want me to like know what you're talking about, you have to say something like, Ashley Banfield has a video from last night entitled da 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 da, specifically referencing the body of the man da 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 da. It's at timestamp XYZ. Okay, so like Ashley Banfield having the video means jack shit to me. I'm just so sorry. Like, if y'all want me to really read, like, I need to know what you're talking about. 600 line items from the last week. Like, the video. Okay, girl, please, come on, please help me out. You can send it to me, ThatSurpriseWitness@gmail.com. There's been no reports on an accident. Well, that's part of the issue, the cell phone alive accident, and it's, you know, trying to piece it together. Yeah, we're talking about a few topics right now, so that doesn't really help me out very much. Sorry. All right. This lady said okay, hold on. The guy in the Range Rover that didn't move. Okay, so that tweet is gone now. So I'm gonna put a note in my notes here. Tweet deleted. Now, one of the reasons the tweet could have been deleted in Occam's razor, the most likely possibility is it just turned out to not be true or accurate, and the person didn't want to mislead people. It could have been taken down by Twitter. Anything could have happened. Okay, so I'm gonna move this next line item down to the end. It's about this car delivery guy, but it's not about. Let me move this down. Okay. Okay. So now we're gonna talk about Dolly Vision. All right, Dolly Vision had a supposedly traumatic run-in yesterday. So this is a tweet first. YouTuber Dolly Vision was out trying to find where SWAT went last night. This was posted last night at 11:30 p.m. my time, 11:38. So like about 9:30 local time. It says Dolly Vision. So he's one of the YouTubers out there on boots on the ground. He was out trying to find where the SWAT team went. He got to a scene with a ton of law enforcement. He saw someone leaning over a truck. Okay, so he got to a scene. I don't know where the scene was. I didn't watch the video, but Dolly Vision himself makes a video explaining what happens. We're going to watch that as well, but he doesn't show anything. Don't worry. In the video we're going to watch, Dolly saw someone leaning over a truck, thinking someone was changing a tire. This apparently was a traffic stop related to Nancy Guthrie. As Dolly got closer, he started to freak out. He saw a person on the ground unalive with some type of weapon near them. I was going to say pew pew, but I don't even know what type of weapon. When law enforcement saw Dolly get close with a camera, they covered the deceased. Dolly had to end his live because he was freaking out so bad, and he has heart issues. He was not expecting to come up on that news conference to be aired very soon, but the news conference didn't happen. So let me pull up the Dolly video where he's talking about it in his car.
Oh my God, I don't even want to tell you. I don't even want to tell you what happened. Oh my God.
This went up almost 2 o'clock in the morning, my time. So when this was actually posted, I don't know when it was actually recorded because this was posted by, somebody here on Twitter. Journalist, reporter, streamer covering the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping investigation explains what he saw regarding the traffic stop involving a white van. Okay. Again, y'all, this is unsubstantiated. I am not on the scene. I am not out there on the scene. I am in New Jersey. This is going on in Arizona. There are people on the scene. Those people are recording. They're live all day. Dolly Vision was just featured in one of the live updates on one of these traditional news sources yesterday. So he is out there. All right. So take it with a grain of salt, nevertheless. However, he's out there and I'm not. So I cannot substantiate what this man is saying. And I am not saying that it is true. But it's very important for me to let y'all know and to let y'all know what different things are going down that I am basing my opinions on, as well as this is what people who are there are saying. It's very easy to say, oh, Dolly Vision. And I don't watch it, to full disclosure, I don't watch Dolly Vision. If I watch somebody live, just so happens I'm going to watch JLR, I just click on his before Dolly Vision. Nothing against Dolly Vision. The way he talks is probably my cousin. But I'm just telling y'all, like, this isn't like, oh, I trust and believe Dolly Vision. I don't know nothing about Dolly Vision. Only time I ever heard his name was in connection with the Manuel Haro case, and I think he might have been out there as well. So I have to give all these disclaimers because this is a very serious investigation that's actually going on, and I just want to give my little opinion and my little commentary on it. And this is something I saw from somebody who's there. So listen to what he says about the person on a live thing, and I wouldn't be surprised this thing gets deleted. Do I need to download this midstream?
Me, all I'm going to say is, oh my God, I don't even want to tell you. I don't even want to tell you.
He don't want to say it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I ain't never seen nothing like that.
He does sound shook.
Never. Oh my God. My nerve, I'm shaking. I'm literally shaking. Oh my God. I wish I hadn't ran up on that. Oh my Lord. I thought it had something to do. Somebody, guys, was unalived with a weapon that goes bang.
He said was unalived. Okay. This is a YouTuber, clearly somebody who is used to using this type of terminology to follow the rules of algorithm, etc. Okay. So he said was unalived. Okay. Someone being unalived puts that person in the accusative case. Okay. That's the what put a 2 in the chat if you remember learning about active voice versus passive voice. Someone was unalived, understood by someone. Okay. Someone was unalived by who? Versus in the nominative, in the nominative case, active voice, someone unalived someone. Okay. So he said was unalived. To me, that means by someone else. But then it ends up getting reported elsewhere. The person unalive their own self. Then it's unclear whether or not this was related to the Nancy Guthrie case or not. Now people are saying that was debunked and that never happened. I don't know. Personally, I don't know. I wasn't there.
Was unalived.
Was unalived. Duh.
With a weapon that goes bang.
With a pew pew.
To the head. Okay? We just ran up on a murder scene.
Murder. That's different than suicide. Hello? Somebody said he done deleted this video. Let me download it. I hate being gaslit. I know I remember seeing that video. No, nope. I'm going to be downloading this right now if you wouldn't mind. Okay. Breaking news update from Brian Enton while we're here. Oh, this isn't a breaking news update. Never mind. Okay. So I don't want to interrupt the coverage for that. Hold on. I need to download this video. Because now that tweet done got deleted, I'm going into that mode of like, all right, got to save everything. I'm saving that video now or downloading it now. And it was posted when at, oh, it's only saved as a screenshot. Hold on. Okay. That was when last night at 12. 26:02. Was it the 13th? Okay, was unalive, and he said a murder scene, not a suicide scene. Now, apparently he didn't watch it actually happen. He just walked up and saw a person laying there in the pew. Again, I don't know if this is even true. He could have hallucinated. Maybe he's so tired he needs some sleep. I have no reason to think that he would literally make something like this up. That would be crazy. That would be like criminal, I think. I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. But let's watch the rest of it and hear what he had to say. I got the video downloaded.
Unbelievable. Oh my God. Oh, I couldn't believe it. When they see me run up with the camera, they started to cover it up. Oh my God. Hold on. Hello? Okay.
Okay, Grits and Grace said, stop. I watched this live. I have screenshots of all of it. Okay, y'all, what are we doing here? She said, this is everywhere. This was everywhere last night. I can't stand Dolly, but we were watching this live. He immediately deleted the video. You saw it and have screenshots, Grits and Grace. ThatSurpriseWitness@gmail.com. I won't be sharing the screenshots. I will not be sharing those screenshots, but I would like to see what was public. What was public? Please, if it's something very gory and you have a picture of the actual body and stuff, please don't send that to me. I don't want to see that. But like your screenshots showing, what was going on, maybe something a little blur, something, whatever. Or if it's posted somewhere, let me know. Because I want to get to the truth. I want to know the truth. It's all he said, she said right now because stuff's getting deleted.
Oh, the traffic stop is? Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, that person's not going to court. Okay?
No.
There ain't no way in hell. Not what I seen. I will never unsee that. Yeah. Let me put this camera down. You can see the police guys. This is all connected. Oh my God.
So there was a little bit of a police presence that he said it's all connected, but they're saying maybe it wasn't, maybe it didn't happen.
I will never unsee that. Yeah. Let me put this camera down. You can see the police guys. This is all connected. Oh my God.
Okay, this is important. Autumn, thank you for pointing this out. I love whenever the true crime girlies are on the scene because they be noticing stuff. Oh my God, that freaking bug. It's that same damn bug. Get out. I listen to Dolly and I start becoming more get out. Someone's saying, Autumn's saying, look at his hand shaking. His hand is shaking. Maybe he really is, shook up. I mean, he might love drama. But that don't mean that he's lying. And that's one thing y'all got to start doing with nuance. Is like somebody said it a while ago. Thank you to them and shout out to them. I don't even like Dolly, but I was watching it happen. Just because somebody likes drama don't mean they're lying. We gotta really investigate what's going on. This person's on the scene and you're not. And I'm not.
God. That was unreal. Okay. All right, I'll call you back. All right, bye. Guys, I'll just show you the police vehicles. I'm not going to point it that way. You do not need to see what I seen tonight. Oh my God. You do not want to know what I just seen. Oh God. I mean, shit.
It sounds real that he saw it.
Look at, I just want to show you the police vehicles. It is lined up with police.
That's that same Chevron. Is that the same Chevron? Remember the Chevron?
Unreal. Look at, I just want to show you the police vehicles. It is lined up.
Is that the Chevron that JLR went over to and they confirmed to him that the feds were in there asking him for surveillance camera? People judging his reaction. Yeah, of course he's distraught. If you don't act like this to seeing something like that in person, there is something wrong with you. Yes, or you've been just so desensitized. Have compassion for the poor guy. And again, y'all, I have no familiarity with this man beyond I think I heard his name come up in the Emmanuel Harrow case. I don't watch his videos. I have no reason to say like, oh, I believe him, I don't believe him. I mean, but just from the human, like, oh my God, like that sounds like someone who did just see something they didn't want to see and didn't need to see. But I mean, look, if this is real and this is true, this is one of the risks you do take following the SWAT team around. I mean, you might see some stuff.
Even point the camera down that way. It is bad. It is super bad, and it is connected.
He's saying it's connected
with Nancy Guthrie. According to Brian Enton, there was 2 people in a traffic stop. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my Jesus.
God and Jesus on the scene. Okay. So that was the dolly of it all. Okay. So that was him talking about it in his car. You can do with that what you will. But now news articles about it are being scrubbed. Okay. We've become familiar with following this guy too. Nerdy Esquire, Nerdy Addict. He said news articles that cited unconfirmed reports from neighbors. So this ain't dolly. This is neighbors claiming one detainee pew-pewed himself in the head are now gone. Sorry, the page you were looking for cannot be found. Someone said, so wait, did that not happen? He said, I can't even pretend I can answer that. I don't know what the actual F is going on. So apparently there were news articles saying it. That a neighbor reported somebody unalived their own self in the head. That would be different from what Dolly said, which was that they were murdered. Again, a bunch of different conflicting reports. We don't know if it's related, if it's not. We don't know if it happened, if it didn't. But back at the scene of the actual Range Rover, this is what I was looking for this whole time. This is them holding up a sheet or a tarp of some sort. This is from 2 a.m. my time. So it's about midnight over there local when this was posted on Twitter. So however long it had to be. However long it had to be, between the getting posted on Twitter. But, it was posted 2 a.m. my time. Breaking. The trunk of the gray SUV is open. Now, apparently the thing with the pew-pew and the guy in the pew-pew with the head and the out in the street and all that was with a white van. This is the gray SUV, the Range Rover. The press is shielded from being able to view what is in the trunk of the vehicle. And it's like a SUV, so it's like a back glass. Come to your own conclusions here. I fear we are at the end of our search. Well, we weren't. We weren't at the end of the search because apparently no arrests have been made. Let's watch this video. It's a minute and a half long.
That looks like they found her body to me, guys.
I didn't watch this with the sound on. I'm not saying that I agree with anything this lady's about to say. I thought it was just news footage, but I'm interested to hear what she's saying. She thinks they found her body in the back of this car. I don't know what would lead her to make that conclusion. I don't know what they found in the back of this car, but this is them covering it up. This is the Range Rover that got towed. This is the vehicle that got towed. It had the yellow piece of paper on the back covering up the license plate.
That's that gray SUV that's been parked there. They opened the trunk and they put up a basically a shield so no one could see what was in the back of the trunk.
I'm sorry.
Somebody said, Wendy, I saw this before the tarp was up. There was nothing in there. They were just taking pictures. I don't know why they're saying all that in the media. Well, they're saying all that is exactly why they're saying that is because they are covering it up. So if there was nothing in the back, why would they cover it up? That's what the average person thinks. Like, why go through all this trouble of covering something up behind a car that was empty? And I'm not even saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're lying. I'm not saying you're mistaken. I didn't see it. You're saying you did. If there's nothing in the back of the car, why the hell are they doing all of this? It's like they're trying to hide something that doesn't even need to be hidden. And it makes the public crave and demand more transparency from them. They create more of a circus by covering up something don't need to be covered up. Literally, in this case, covering it up when it didn't need to be if there was nothing back there. So that's why the media is saying all that. Like, why are they covering up? Why are they covering up? They didn't need to do all of that. Why are they covering it up? It's weird. Maybe they're covering up what they were doing in there. They didn't want us to see what kind of tests they were running on it, but they towed it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I want to see the front of it.
I think we have it.
No license plate on the front.
I think we have our answer.
So what are they doing in there? Yeah, is there another angle? They got an evidence bag. Oh no, another tarp. They're putting up another tarp.
Examiner out there within the next couple of
This
minutes.
dude's smiling. You can see this guy smiling. This is the sheriff's, and this looks like the FBI.
Yeah, this is heartbreaking, guys.
The FBI's out there. So now the sheriff's saying we can't confirm that this had anything to do with the Guthrie case, this Land Rover or the Range Rover, whatever it is. Then why is the FBI out there? Okay. Somebody said she sent the article or he sent the article to my email. So I'm going to see if that's available now. Let me see if it came through. Information about car stop and person unalived. Okay, so this is a Facebook. This isn't an article though. It's just a Facebook post, but I'll show it to y'all. Breaking. SWAT op in Nancy Guthrie case turns deadly. 3 people detained. 1 man reportedly died by self-inflicted pew-pew. Pima County Sheriff confirms connection. Road sealed off near East Placita de Graciela, just 2 miles from Nancy's. Currently blocking off with tarp. Something they found in the back of the Range Rover. Details and updates incoming. Well, somebody said they sent me an article. I don't see any article there. Breaking severe weather across headlines. Okay. Yes. Okay. Come through. All right. This is good. Thank you. Hold on. I'm about to show y'all what I'm getting. I need to save this picture. Okay. So this is one of the pieces of evidence y'all just sent me. Hold on. Someone sent this screenshot, and shout out to y'all for the screenshots. You already know how it goes out here. So look, 12:44, that person's time zone. Breaking news, severe weather. Okay. Time sensitive. Nancy Guthrie, cops detain 4 as neighbor claims they saw person pew self in head. Let me copy that and see if Daily Mail left the article up. I bet you they didn't. Nope. It doesn't come up. Let's see a neighbor actually speaking on the case.
Brian Enton's on the ground. He did an interview with a neighbor, Peter Molk, lives across the street. Let's hear what he had to say.
Unbelievably absurd. It's making everybody nervous. It's just surreal.
Y'all can't even see him. Hold on.
I just can't imagine how the family is processing all this. You know,
Hold
as
on,
a neighbor,
sorry.
as
I'll start
a
it
person
over.
that lives in the community, you know, we just wanted to resolve, you know, for the positive.
And so what do you make it? How's it on the ground? Peter Molk lives across the street. Let's hear what he had to say.
unbelievably absurd. It's making everybody nervous. It's just surreal. And we just can't imagine how the family is processing all this. You know, as a neighbor, as a person that lives in the community, you know, we just wanted to resolve, you know, for the positive.
And so what do you think? How's it feel? There's, 20 cop cars, a couple SWAT.
Yeah, I live right across the street.
Right across the street.
Yeah, it's weird.
Tell us your thoughts when you saw that going on, maybe, just about trying to process it all. Tell us how you feel about that.
We feel that, they might have gotten a tip. There's been a lot of tips, I'm sure, over the past 2 weeks, but this seems to be a tip that's, could be close. Hopefully it's something that's credible and, it's actual. So hopefully they get somebody, but living right so close to it, I can't imagine that if they get somebody that lives right next to me on my street, that, that even makes sense, to be in this neighborhood, to have all these cops here. There's bomb squad vehicles, a lot of cops, a lot of presence.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our
Okay. I mean, why are these articles? Not only are the articles getting deleted, what I find to be very strange is that there's no correction of the articles. Like, there's nobody that came out and said, any reports that somebody unalived, is false. They're not saying that. Police seal off road near Arizona. Okay, the Guardian article came through. Let me turn it on Reader. Police seal off road near Arizona home of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie's missing mother. Sheriff, FBI, and forensics vehicles passed through roadblocks. Parade of sheriff's vehicles, including forensics vehicles, passed through the road. The two agencies also tagged a Range Rover from a Culver's, tagged and towed a Range Rover SUV from a Culver's restaurant parking lot. The restaurant is just about 2 miles from Nancy's home. This activity took place at the same time sheriff's office closed a road just north of the Guthrie home. The Pima County Sheriff's Department said the activity was part of the Guthrie case. Okay, it was part of the Guthrie case. But also said the FBI requested it not release further information. Guthrie was reported missing February 1st. Investigators she had a pacemaker. They've studied the surveillance video. More than 13,000 calls to the FBI, more than 18,000 to the sheriff. On Tuesday, authorities released footage showing an armed masked person. Experts say, okay, so the headline was amended to correct Savannah Guthrie's first name. So what was this article about? That didn't have nothing about the man unaliving himself. Yeah, I know. We already covered the Dolly Vision thing. Yeah, white van is what they were saying. Armed masked person. Yeah, that was in the article about person unalived, 3 detained. Okay, thank you to Brooke. Oh, boom. Yes. All right. Britain. They didn't get to the Britain news just yet. Shout out to the British cousins. Man pews himself as 3 detained following the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Okay. Oh, sorry. Following the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Okay, let's watch this. Oh. I don't feel like watching no ad, I tell you that. Okay. No, go away. The mother, FBI agents, and SWAT team. Is this gonna? It's always a freaking foot. I want to see them say it with their own. I want to see them say it with their own mouth. You know what I mean? Don't take it from me.
Granger for the ones.
Welcome back. Good morning. Good evening. Let's move on to this main story that is gripping America here this evening. The disappearance of the host of NBC's Today Show, Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy. It's entered now into its 2nd week. And tonight, the FBI has released new video footage of somebody that Director Kash Patel has described as an armed individual appearing to have tampered with the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door the morning of her disappearance. Savannah gave this update yesterday.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help.
And the President's Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt gave this update this evening.
Okay, so I guess this video is not related. Okay, let's read the article. FBI agents and SWAT teams FBI agents and SWAT teams swarmed a property just 2 miles from Nancy's residence as part of an investigation into the 84-year-old's disappearance. 3 individuals were taken into custody during the operation, with one person reportedly pew-pewing himself. According to local news reports, the tactical teams descended on the Tucson, Arizona home at approximately 9 p.m. local on Friday. So it was like 11 o'clock our time. Acting on a tip received by investigators, the sheriff confirmed the FBI's involvement in the joint investigation, but declined to release further details at the Bureau's request. Officers directed a man and a woman to leave the premises, with both surrendering voluntarily to authorities. Reports suggest the pair may be a mother and son. A third individual was apprehended during a separate traffic stop nearby, which investigators confirmed was connected to the main investigation. Authorities have not clarified whether those detained are suspects or persons of interest. There's an active situation happening right now involving the Pima County SWAT team connected to the Nancy Guthrie investigation. This was a local journalist, Brian Enton, reporting from the scene. He added it appeared 2 individuals were taken out of the house where SWAT operation is happening. I'm told a nearby traffic stop is also connected. Miss Guthrie, the mother of the Today Show host, was last seen at her home January 31st. Investigators believe she was abducted sometime late that Saturday evening. Authorities said the elderly grandmother appears to have been forced from her residence, leaving behind a trail of blood. A description of an armed individual captured on Nancy's Nest camera at her front door was released by the FBI, describing the suspect as a man of average build, standing 5'9" to 5'10". The Bureau has doubled its reward of our hard-earned tax money for $100,000. Anybody could lead to this abductor. Yesterday's operation followed a crucial forensic development earlier on Friday when investigators discovered DNA evidence from the property. We don't know if it was in the house or outside, that does not match Nancy or anyone known to be close to her. Here's the FBI. They're in that Range Rover. Can we see what kind of license plate? Okay, there's the license plate. It's got a C. It ends with an O or a 0, 2040 maybe. G or a C here. It's hard to set. Is it 59040? There's the Range Rover. And what's back there? Look, we do got some pictures of it. Is this just the back of the seat? Are they spraying for luminol? And why is everybody smiling? Look at this guy smiling. It is FBI. It is FBI. The sheriff, Chris Nanos, confirmed the unidentified genetic material has become central to the inquiry. Despite the apparent progress, the sheriff urged patience regarding the investigation timeline. Some of these cases take months, sometimes years. Something very odd is going on here. Did he die? Someone said. I mean, look, it's right there in the title. Man himself as 3 detained. 3 individuals taken into custody and 1 person reportedly pew-pew himself, according to local news reports. Thank you to Brooke for sending in that tip. Daily Mail article. Okay, so Daily Mail apparently has updated the title, and they have said, no, there's no actual, and nobody shot themselves. Nancy Guthrie raids on house and car resulted in no arrests, despite previous claims that 4 people had been taken into custody and 1 had pew-pew self in the head. Investigators did not make any arrests during, and again, y'all, just because they say they didn't make any arrests doesn't mean they didn't make any arrests, because first of all, they can lie. They're allowed to lie to us. Second of all, sometimes they'll be calling something not an arrest, and it's definitely an arrest. A law enforcement source told CNN no one was taken into custody during the raid on the home. One man was, but that's weird because Brian Enton said law enforcement sources said some people were taken into custody. So somewhere, somehow, we're getting lied to or we're getting wrong information. Either they were or they weren't. And it's been reported by law enforcement sources that they were and that they weren't. So we don't know. One man was questioned but released. And investigators decided he was not Nancy's abductor. Fox News had earlier reported 3 people were detained, with one detained two during at the traffic stop. 3 people were detained at the house, with one being detained during a traffic stop. So was it 4? Was it 3? It's unclear if the people apprehended were briefly detained by investigators before they were released. The Daily Mail has contacted the Pima County Sheriff's Office and the FBI for more information. NBC affiliate KVOA shared an unconfirmed report of a neighbor seeing one person pew themselves in the head during the SWAT raid. A neighbor? But there was no further information about that alleged incident. The Friday night raids were the most dramatic so far in the hunt for Nancy. What are these freaking purple lights? I guess maybe it just turns purple because this side's blue and this side's red. The 84-year-old mother of an NBC. Okay, Okay, here's some pictures. Look, there's the tarp put up. A huge team of armed SWAT officers were filmed descending on the Tucson home around 2 miles away from Nancy. Around the same time, the driver of a silver Range Rover was pulled over. FBI agents were filmed investigating the contents of the car's trunk, which had been obscured from photographers' view with a sheet. The SUV was later towed away. No further detail has been shared on why the house and car was targeted. Pima County Sheriff's Office issued a statement late Friday saying the raid on the house was linked to the disappearance of Guthrie. They said they would issue more information in the early hours today, and they said they've been asked not to do so by the FBI. Saturday's update, that's today, appears to mark the latest frustrating obstacle in the hunt for Nancy. On Tuesday, they had arrested Carlos Palazuelos, held by cops in connection with the abduction, but then they let him go. There is that Range Rover on the tow truck. There's Savannah. There's Nancy. Hidden clues in the Nancy case spark theories. He was later released without charge. This is Carlos. He said he was in the car with his wife, who was driving when they were pulled over, and he was told he was being detained because of Nancy's abduction. He said he may have delivered a package near her house, but he never kidnapped her. Investigators later decided he was telling the truth and freed him. On Wednesday, the FBI released footage of a guy in a ski mask. This person, believed to be a man, was seen looking at Nancy's doorbell camera lens, then pulling up a handful of flowers in a bid to cover up its contents. Nancy did not have a subscription for the Nest camera, meaning investigators had to ask the Nest's owner, which is Google, to dig deep into its servers and find the footage. And I just want to remind you, Google owns that footage, not Nancy. Isn't that interesting? I don't know if y'all got Nest cameras up, especially inside your house. You don't own that footage. Did you know that? Google does. And all the federal government has to do is say, oh, I want to see what they were doing right outside their bathroom real quick. And they can get that footage. You don't own it. Nancy didn't even have a freaking subscription to Nest for anything to be saved, but they got it, didn't they? Isn't that interesting? Thanks so much to Melanated Wealth for the $5 super chat. Such a cluster beep. I would be sick to my stomach if this was my family member. The lack of order, the lack of reports, etc. I completely agree. It is such a fiasco. The sheriff has come under fire for his handling of this disappearance. Yeah, I'd say. He's yet to name a suspect amid growing concerns. On Friday, he revealed Savannah texted him and she says she has her own people. Series of ransom notes and demands have been sent to TMZ. 2 deadlines. Friday, they discovered the DNA other than Nancy's and those close to her. Okay. Yes, it shows no data is ever just gone. Somebody sent me something else. Thank you for this. I will show this as well. Okay, shout out to y'all taking these screenshots and taking these down this evidence. Thank you, thank you. So I'm going to show y'all another news report. This is a screenshot. Okay. So this is news for Tucson. A Shadow, look, it says 3 suspects detained, 1 dead, according to Shadow Hills neighbor. A Shadow Hills resident tells News 4 Tucson that she witnessed 3 people being detained during a SWAT operation on Friday night. According to an unconfirmed report by a neighbor, another person pew himself in the head. Someone said, what happened to the article you guys wrote about this and now it's been taken down? Very interesting. Indeed. Okay, let me close some of these tabs. Things are just getting deleted every to and fro. Isn't it the case? All right. So then now I want to show y'all this lady who was talking about why they might be covering the back of that Range Rover up with a sheet or a tarp or whatever.
Point, she didn't just quit bleeding because she's on blood thinner, so she's most likely put into a vehicle. If we have any of her DNA in the trunk of that Range Rover, if we have hair, if we have, again, that backpack, they did the right thing by holding up those tarps. And if you watch what they did when they closed the door and the trunk, they put evidence tape.
Get my Mississippi, Tennessee grandma a glass of water, please. Okay. She sounds just like she's from Mississippi.
Those seals, and they dated them and put their signature. That vehicle to them is a crime scene. They did the right thing by loading that up on that flatbed, getting it to another location to process it properly. I'm talking about 1 hair off somebody's head. So you don't want to try to do anything there at that scene. You want to take it to a location where you have something that you can take step by step by step, process it properly, bag and tag everything.
So you've got some very sharp observations about that search.
So the main thing I wanted to show y'all there is that this lady she's a quote forensic expert, and she's saying the fact they picked up them sheets and put it and covered it up. First of all, that means they're treating that car as a crime scene. That's why they towed it. Second of all, they might be putting them sheets up because there was something in a container. There was something back there they didn't want people, more sensitive people of society, the family, the friends to see. Interesting. Okay. So let me get to my next line item. She said there could have been a container back there. There could have been a body. There could have been something else. But it does mean, she said, the forensic expert said, that means they're treating this as a crime scene. So let's get a little bit more information about the operation that took place at the restaurant, Culver's. SWAT operation linked to the disappearance of Nancy turned tragic Friday night in Pima County. This is Ashley Team Trump 47. Girl, this could be AI. I don't know who she is. She said 3 individuals were detained and 1 reportedly died from a self-inflicted pew-pew wound during the raid. Pima County Sheriff's Department confirmed the activity is related to the ongoing investigation into Nancy's abduction. So the scene unfolded in the Shadow Hills neighborhood near East Palacita de Graciela and Camino de Michael, roughly 2 miles from Nancy's home in the Catalina foothills area. Law enforcement sealed off roads with SWAT teams, forensics vehicles, and FBI agents on site. Reports indicate authorities were seen covering a Range Rover with a tarp, possibly due to evidence discovered in the vehicle. Official details remain limited at the request of the FBI, with no formal press conference held Friday night. The incident follows weeks of searching after Nancy was believed to have been forcibly taken from her home, snatched as she slept, some even speculated. So this is a 15-second long video. Let's see what's going on.
Shirt, at least. We don't know that that's exactly what they're looking into, but that was what we saw on his shirt, at least. That's, again, that Chevy Tahoe that's in the middle there, the silver one. It looks like he parked there, and then they all took out some kind of equipment.
So they didn't want, for whatever reason, the public or the media or whatever to see inside that Range Rover. And your guess is as good as mine. Okay. Let me get to my next line item here. Now, this purports to be a first look at the handcuffed guy. First look. This was posted this morning, 8:30 a.m., like about 5 hours ago. First look at a man handcuffed at the Culver's restaurant near Nancy's home in Tucson last night. No charges have been announced, and authorities have not confirmed they have any suspects at this time. So you can see he has a handcuff, but I guess maybe not. On the other hand, I don't know what they got him handcuffed to something. I don't know. Maybe it's just a bracelet, but there he is there. He's got a mustache, a hood over his head. And he has not been identified. Now look at this is Michael Ruiz. He's a reporter, I think on the ground, maybe not, but he is a reporter for Fox News Digital. He said, I'm told this stop was connected to the warrant served at a nearby house last night. The car was towed. The vehicle was a Range Rover that police and the FBI were seen looking at for hours in the Culver's parking lot. Okay, so the car that I talked about a while ago wasn't the silver Range Rover. Remember those two cars? I was like, oh, look, there's the license plate. That was the car. That was the Chevy Tahoe. Okay, so this is live. I'm doing a live investigation. Okay, so don't take anything I say as facts. But the Range Rover, I think, is still, they had just reported it inaccurately. This is the Range Rover. This is the Range Rover right here. Right next to it is a cop car, sheriff's car. I think right next to it again, you can see the light here is another sheriff's vehicle. And then this right here appears to be some type of an investigative law enforcement vehicle. They have all this stuff in here. I think they probably were spraying down the back of this car. Now that I'm looking at it, now that I see what's going on here, I think they were probably doing a luminol test or a blood test to see if there was any blood splatters, or DNA they could collect out of the back of that vehicle. Hair, like the lady said, the expert said, and they just didn't want us to see that they were doing that. That's just my best guess. I really obviously don't know. Thanks so much to Tex Mall for the $4.99. TMZ did notes on Fox last night regarding the ransom. Initially it was 50,000 deposit, and then after that 50,000 in Bitcoin. Harvey Levin is definitely finding a way to make himself the center of this investigation. It's very interesting to me, to say the least. Okay, so that was the guy that they handcuffed. Oh, and then they were talking to him on video. I guess I got a video of it. Oh, look. Okay, FBI agents. This is our trusty pal, Nerdy Esquire, Nerdy Addict. FBI agents were seen speaking with a man in the Culver's parking lot at First and River before photographing the evidence as part of their evidence collection. So this is supposedly the video of them. It's only 17 seconds long, but let's take a look. That must be the guy that was sitting there. They're bending down, talking to him. Here's the Culvers. Again, this First Avenue, this First Street, it does come up again. And just judging on, let me see. Let me look at the guy again and see if I can see his picture, his feet. Hold on. See what kind of shoes he's wearing. They're cut out. Okay, it's hard to tell what his shoe situation is in this picture, because obviously it's impossible to tell, I should say, because his feet are cut off. But no, it does look like he is wearing like white sneakers or something, actually, upon further look. And maybe it's just, yeah, he's got those khaki pants on. But I guess these guys are talking to him. I don't know why they're bent down like that. Are they taking a bite impression? I have no idea. Hold on, just reading some of y'all's comments. They've been doing that lately. They place a tent over the other day. Yeah, they place a tent over things. Yeah. Now they claimed that was because they needed to recreate like the nighttime conditions and they had like a blackout tent. I mean, you can decide whether you find that to be credible or not. He had a white hoodie on, they were saying. Okay, hold on. I got to get rid of someone that's causing drama and distracting the chat. So, banned. Anybody else in here want to distract the chat from what I'm talking about? You can get banned too. Okay. I don't know if y'all forgot, this is my channel, not yours. Okay, so then they're talking to him in that video, or they're doing something. Okay, article accompanying. Let's see this article. They're saying they detained this individual at Culver's when he went to go pick up food, while at the same time they swatted the home with 2 individuals inside, a male and female, not one word since. Hours examining a Range Rover tied to a warrant, but now it's towed? That's not routine. Something major is unfolding. That Range Rover was just sold to him that day or night? Someone said they just sold this Range Rover. Hold on. I'm just following tweet leads, y'all. This doesn't mean it's real. 2017 Land Rover, Range Rover Sport. It was sold in May, it says. Accident reported in May. Vehicle involved in a sideswipe collision. Tucson, Arizona. Where does it say it was when it was sold? Appeared 5 days ago. That's interesting. I don't want to get too like far off chasing leads. Like, I don't know if that's the same one. Somebody said it was sold in November. That's weird. Okay. Anyway, the point of that wasn't that anyway. The point of that was to to read this article. So I'm going to pull that up now. It's by that same guy, Michael Ruiz. That's his name, right? Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Sheriff says no arrests and none remain in custody after the operation. Wait, hold on. Why did he post this? I need to see what I was looking for. FBI was seen looking for hours. Okay, so we will get into it. I'm going to go through all the websites that do the live updates, and we're going to read through every single one. So we're still going to be here for a while, but I do want to make sure that we're covering every little update that happened on those live updates. So we're going to go back through those. The one that he did post was from Fox News. And so we are going to be reading the Fox News updates. So from the live over the last day or two. So I'll get to that when I do. Okay, apparently a house was raided. I think we already talked about this, but I do want to just go through the different little sources. Developing, Pima County deputies have blocked off a road approximately 2 miles from Nancy's home. A warrant has been served, and a local law enforcement source says one person has been detained, awaiting official confirmation. Okay, so that was last night. I must have saved that one. Okay, we do also have a map of where this apparently was going on. This is how close to the house being raided by police is to Nancy's. The circle is the street of the raid where the media is staged. So this is East Orange Grove Road. Okay, nice. Let me pull this. I'll make it bigger. So I guess this is apparently Nancy's. And then this is over here. So, I mean, really, like if you look, these are the houses. So you can kind of get a sense of scale. That's how far, if this is the size of a house, you really almost looks like you might be able to walk. What is it? Maybe 2. Yeah, they say less than 2 miles. Now, is it as the crow flies 2 miles? Or is it this and then this? I wish I remembered the Pythagorean theorem. What is it? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. As the crow flies, who knows? Geometry wasn't my best subject. I wish it was, I really do. Okay. So anyway, there's a map of the 2 locations. Okay. Now also this is, there was Brian Enton, I think is being credited here. Brian Enton, of News Nation reported last night, authorities have identified the individuals detained in the Nancy Guthrie investigation as a mother and a son who were taken into custody during a SWAT operation. Okay, then now they have let them people go. Let my people go. I need to watch The Prince of Egypt again soon. Okay, if there is a detained... Oh, okay. This is so important. And this, to me, kind of starts to fill in the gaps of why they have to be letting these people go. The sheriff even said it. He did do an interview, like a 15-minute interview with, like, I don't know, somebody yesterday. It came out yesterday. And he said, just because we let somebody go don't mean we're not about to pick them up again. We might pick them back up again. Nobody is ever really actually eliminated from as the crow flies. I love crows. My ancestors' last name was Corbello, which means crow. And I think it's because they were psychic, but that's just my conspiracy theory. Anyway, so I think I got that gene. I actually have, I'll let y'all know, I have some videos recorded and they're private, so you won't be able to find them. They are private videos, but if they turn out to become out to be true, I'm going to release them. And one of them is a psychic vision. It's a psychic, I got a psychic vision. Unfortunately, it doesn't make the family look too good. So I just made it private. And if it never comes out to be true, then that video will never see the light of day. But if it does, then y'all will know. Birds are messengers, somebody said, especially the crows. Y'all better leave them alone. That's the ancestor birds. And they love me and they will pluck your eye out. You better leave them alone. State of Arizona only has 24 hours to charge a detained person. And law enforcement has to release them. So you can't just say, oh, we suspect you did something wrong. No. They have to charge you with something. What did you do wrong? Or else they have to let you go after within 24 hours. You can only detain somebody and ask them questions in Arizona for 24 hours or less. 24 would be the max. So that would make sense. Like if they don't have fully what they need by questioning the person, they can't arrest them. They have to let them go. And I think that would explain why the sheriff said, don't expect we're not going to arrest people, pick them back up. We'll see. We'll see. But that's interesting to know, the 24-hour rule. And I like that rule. If they don't have enough evidence to arrest somebody and to charge them with a crime, they shouldn't be able to keep them for 24 hours or longer. They shouldn't be able to keep them that long. If they don't have any evidence, if they don't have any reason to charge them, and they'll charge anybody for anything, jaywalking, okay? So if they have no reason to charge somebody, then they shouldn't be keeping them detained for longer than that. That's my opinion, and that's truly my belief. Okay, so now that brings us to this morning. And again, we are going to go, I do want to tell y'all, we're going to start from like yesterday morning and go all day from all the different live updates. So we have a lot more to go. But this is just my personal line items here. That brings us to this morning where Matt Finn, whatever, he said this morning there have been no arrests made. And whether or not we agree on the definition of an arrest or not, nobody's in custody anymore. So arrest, detained, they're all let go. Good to know. But again, that doesn't rule out picking people back up and arresting people again. Also, Oblivi, that was such a good point. Who knows if they didn't just bring these people in, just get their DNA. Oh, you want some coffee? You want a cigarette? You want to smoke a cigarette? Here you go. Here's an ashtray. They smoke that cigarette. They put their mouth on that cigarette and they leave it there at the station. Now the station got their DNA. So it could be that they were brought in for questioning. And then, but nobody remains in the custody anymore, they say. Okay. Now something else weird happened. This is like more in the miscellaneous category. But there was apparently yesterday or the day before, the cops let the pool people come service Nancy Guthrie's pool. Very weird, very strange. Let's watch. I'm going to turn this on 1.25 times the speed. What's the deal with that?
DNA was found inside of Nancy Guthrie's home, and investigators believe that DNA is not Nancy's, and it's not any of her family members either. And it's not a contractor. So whose is it? That's what they're trying to figure out tonight. All this is TMZ is reporting a new email from someone who says they know the main suspect and is alleging this manhunt could go international. Bernard Zaper is a former ATF special agent in charge. Bernard, before we get to the new DNA, I got to ask about the pool.
This man's office
and is alleging this
is a Freemason freaking bingo card. Y'all see this man's office? What the hell?
Could go international. Bernard Zaper is a former ATF special agent.
He's got the freaking 3 in the pyramid and the 3 in the, oh my Lord. He look, I ain't even gonna say what he looks like. Anyway, he's the former special agent.
In charge. Bernard, before we get to the new DNA, I got to ask about the pool.
Yes.
They're servicing the pool at a crime scene while a woman's been missing for almost 2 weeks.
Look at them.
The Guthrie family said they wanted it cleaned. Have you ever heard of this before?
I haven't. It's perplexing in that we don't have a very solid control because it is ongoing. And I mean, especially if you're capturing DNA internally and you still have activity there, I mean, at a minimum, you're going to have the perimeter secured. Everybody's going to be challenged even before they even get close. So yeah, this is perplexing. I've never heard of this before.
Okay. Are you putting a lot of stock in these new revelations from TMZ? Yes, they've been a conduit for a lot of video.
He's never heard of that ever before because the crime scene should be secured. Well, first of all, the crime scene hasn't been secured. But let's just say the crime scene is perfectly secured. And do I have to be the person to say the obvious here or what I believe is the obvious? Do I have to be the person to say it? Do I have to be the voice of reason consistently and perpetually over and over again? These guys are feds. Dressed up like pool service guys. Because they didn't want all those headlines that said, FBI searches pool filter for evidence of Nancy Guthrie, da-da-da, ba-da-da, boo-doo-doo, dee-dee-dee. Instead, it's just some silly story this Freemason never heard of in his life. I've been in the FBI 47 and a half years and never even heard of that in my life. Well, maybe it's because it's feds with a freaking pool polo shirt on. Anybody ever heard of that? Because I have. They dress up like whatever. They're obviously searching in that pool filter to see if something's in there. Is it a necklace? Is it a bracelet? Is it a phone? We need to search the pool. But when we searched the septic tank, everybody freaked out and it was 3 days of headlines. So now instead, let's just dress up like pool service guys and say the family wanted the pool cleaned. Why would the family want the pool cleaned? It hadn't even been warm. It was raining yesterday. The first day in 2 weeks it rained in Tucson. That's the day they had the pool service. I'm calling bullshit. Sorry. You don't need to have the pool clean when you got your little robot running through there unless you need to pull your robot up and check the filters. These are feds. These are not pool cleaners. That's my opinion. Put a 2 in the chat if you agree. That's my opinion. Okay. Opinion alert. Let me just put it up here even like this. Like, oh, okay. Yeah. Everything is okay. It's speculation opinion. These aren't pool cleaners. There's a reason this guy has never heard of this before. There's a reason these people were allowed to go back there and clean the pool. They needed to search. And every time they search something outside, there's 50-11 headlines. There's 50-11. I haven't never seen the Sopranos. I've never seen the Sopranos, but yeah. They did a good job. The feds did a good job of cleaning it. Not going to lie, it's crystal clear. I'm going to tell you why it's crystal clear. Do you see this thing right here? You see this thing right here? That is what's called a pool robot. You see how it has a pole on it? I mean, excuse me, what is this? Like a tube, a pipe on it? This is sucking up. It crawls. It can crawl up the side. It can suck algae. It goes on the top. It catches leaves. And then it sends it all back. So it's going to be clean because it's like a Roomba for your pool. Now, eventually, yes, it does get full. The family wanted these 2 guys. You needed 2 of them to come clean the pool. How many guys come out and clean your pool? Maybe to fill the pool up, maybe to set the pool up for the season, to come out to clean the pool. You need 2 people. Really? Really? Okay. All right. You can believe that if you want to. I was born last night. It wasn't last night. Okay. Makes me suspicious something could have happened near the pool. Right. Like, what if they needed to go out on there and spray for luminol, spray for whatever? They're spraying there. So we're cleaning the pool. Hey, the feds let us clean the pool. Okay, girl. We'll go with that. Okay. So next line item in the miscellaneous section. Baird Green. I'm going to save that for the last, and then the car delivery. Okay, I'm going to save that for the last. Let's go to the Newsweek updates. Okay, these are going to be the live updates. It's a crime scene, they not wearing gloves. Well, yeah, I mean, the whole thing's completely contaminated. Thank you, Maya. Maya has a pool. It's only ever one person ever comes to clean it. Chlorine levels for pH are not tested daily, girl. Just say you have a pool and go. Say you have a pool and go. Don't have a pool and go. Say you never owned a pool in your life and go. You do not test the chlorine levels and the pH levels daily. If you do, you're doing something excessive. Okay. Maybe once a week. Maybe once a week. Yeah, and when you get your pool cleaned, there's one guy that looks like exactly like a Fed standing like this. Just making sure the pool gets cleaned right for the lady that hasn't been home in 2 weeks. Okay, got it. Okay, got it. Got it. Oh, y'all are so funny. Best friend, thank you for being a member for 8 months. Hey, cousins, happy Valentine's Day. Nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you. I know, y'all are so funny. Y'all are so funny. Nobody is checking their pool every day. If you do, you're doing it too many times. They're avoiding criticism for not cleaning the pool earlier. Oh, ooh, good point. TLRHSM999. SMH. She said, or he said, they are avoiding criticism for not checking this pool earlier. Yeah, because if they went check the pool now, it's like, why y'all didn't check the pool filter before now? Kind of weird. Depends on what you're getting cleaned. I don't see many leaves falling into a pool in the desert. Period. I use one of those little test strips every day. Okay, but she got OCD. Okay, it's a medical condition. Well, okay, if Amber is saying you got to check the pool every day, she should come to my house and do it. I'm not doing that every day. No. I don't know anybody with a pool personally checks that every day. Once a week, yes. Because it starts to, like, if the pH levels and stuff get out of whack and the chlorine levels, like, you get chemical burns and stuff. Drones get footage of them dragging a net. Interesting. One person would sound reasonable, but no. No. Okay, so now let's go. I'm going to scroll back to, because now we're like into the next day today. I didn't go live yesterday, so I want to cover from the whole day yesterday. Let's start there. Oh, it only goes to 8 hours ago. Can you go further back? Okay, so I guess we'll start from 8 hours ago then on Newsweek. Photos show 2 scenes of activity. Okay, so now we're going to be going over all the updates from the live updates from the different, let me close some of these tabs. Video images from the scene, photos show, okay. 2 scenes of activity. New images show operations at about 2 miles from Nancy's home. Officers were first seen at the junction of East Orange Grove and First Avenue shortly before midnight last night. Law enforcement activity is underway at a residence. Pima, the sheriff's department, said on X, 11:47 local time, which is about almost 2 a.m. Eastern, this morning. It said the operation was a joint investigation with the FBI. Man detained by police at a Tucson restaurant. This is 8 hours ago. Journalist Nick Siletti reported that a man was detained by Marana police in front of a Culver's restaurant parking lot, roughly 2 miles from Nancy's home. He said the investigative scene was not far from a previous investigative scene that authorities confirmed was connected to the Guthrie investigation. It is yet to be confirmed whether the detention is connected to the Guthrie investigation. Newsweek has contacted the Marana Police Department via email outside of normal working hours for comment. Okay. Friday night's operation was mapped out. Federal agents were first seen at the junction of East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue, about 2 miles from Nancy's home, shortly before midnight. The sheriff said it was related to the Guthrie case. Investigators were then seen at a nearby second location in the parking lot of the Culvers. Okay, so here's the map. So new activity at a nearby home, new activity at the Culvers restaurant, and then here's Nancy's home. Okay, so here's the you know, we're zooming in here, zoning in. 3 people detained when federal agents swarmed a residence 2 miles from the home. 2 of the people, I'm actually going to take a picture of this map. I want to put this on my web. Let me take a little screenshot here if you don't mind. Or even if you do. Okay. Investigators were seen in a nearby location. Okay, next thing. 2 of the people are apparently a mother and a son. The third is a male. Fox News journalist Max Gordon reported from the scene. It is yet to be officially confirmed whether these detentions are connected to the Guthrie case. Okay. So new video in the search. Is it really a new video? No, this is from the 10th. Okay, footage from the doorbell recap. We're not going to do that because I want to get through all the updates from yesterday. The FBI suspect description, we already know. He's 5'9" to 5'10" with an average build. This is what they're saying is the backpack, although I have my doubts. I have noticed things that do not appear to be the same, like this stitching right here on his, unless he somehow had a reflective stitching. It looked white or light silver. The vent/fan on the front of the backpack does not appear consistent with what I saw on the video, and the logo appears to be missing from the video. The black backpack clue, DNA found at Nancy's home. This is 6 hours ago. The sheriff said Friday, DNA other than Nancy's and those close to her has been collected. Investigators are working to identify who it belongs to. Okay. I bet they were taking DNA from everybody last night that got mentioned. I bet they were taking DNA. I bet that's what they were leaning over that car to swab that man's cheek. Now, the sheriff pronounced that buckle. Is it buckle? I thought it was buccal. B-U-C-C-A-L. Beckle. Buckle. It is buckle. I thought it was buccal. I'm probably still keep saying buccal. I don't like buckle. That's ugly. That don't sound good. Okay, let's go back to the updates. Oh, okay, so they've changed the description. The first suspect. Oh, first suspect description. Okay, the backpack. Okay. What are the major clues? I just want the updates here. Woman at Culver's hangs up the phone 4 hours ago. Y'all, they done called the restaurant and they got hung up on. A woman at the Culver's, where law enforcement seized a Range Rover SUV, immediately hung up when Newsweek contacted the restaurant by phone. About 8:40 this morning, our time, 6:40 a.m. local time. A female voice said, hello. And Newsweek reporter identified themselves and the person hung up the phone. I don't blame them. Here's some of the pictures. Photos show a Range Rover inspection. More photos show the scene as the silver or gray Range Rover SUV was seized just a few miles from Nancy Guthrie's home in Tucson. Images show an FBI agent assisted by Pima Sheriff's Department deputy carry out tests. Okay, images showing them doing tests. One image shows the vehicle being transported on a truck before it was carried away. Officials have not confirmed the vehicle nor the law enforcement activity is connected to the search for 84-year-old Nancy. But it seems like that's conflicting. It seems like some sources are saying it is connected to Nancy and they did confirm it, and some are saying no. And hallo is German. So hallo is German. Hallo. So I don't know why they spelled that like that. This was not a kidnapping. It was a home invasion gone wrong. She died in the house February 1st, Rochelle said. I think that's possible for sure. I have seen no reason to disagree. I'll say that. Here's some of the photos. Let's see what they're doing. Okay. Anybody anybody recognize what this would be? It looks like he's got his hands open, like he's getting prashad at the Gurdwara. And him right here, he's holding something with a red tag. FBI handing it off to the sheriff deputy. Here's the Range Rover. Just try to, I know we've seen these pictures, but I do want to see if I can gather up any, what are there's a bag for evidence. So did they swab something on the door handle? Here they are inside the actual Range Rover. What are they doing? This looks like a Sharpie. So what's he doing inside the Range Rover? It does appear that they are swabbing and taking stuff for tests. Look at this. There's a Sharpie there, and he's doing something here. This isn't a thumbnail, actually. I thought that was such a great picture, just the saturation. But anyway, yeah, they hanging up the phone if you call the Culvers, which I do not think you should do. Man questioned, but no arrests in ops. Law enforcement. This is from 4 hours ago. The 2 law enforcement operations near Nancy's home last night concluded without any arrests. Again, depends on who's defining arrest, but law enforcement officials are saying they didn't do any arrests. One man was questioned and cooperative before being released. The official said, okay, he was arrested. He was questioned but not arrested. No news conference is planned after Friday's activity. I mean, who's surprised by that? Put a 3 in the chat if you're not. Put a 3 in the chat if you're not surprised. No news conference planned today. Although it's very interesting that sheriff did a whole bunch of interviews yesterday. He did a whole bunch of interviews yesterday with his, I guess, own special chosen select few favorite news sources, but he did not do a press conference where the actual press could ask him questions. It's like these pre-selected questions is what it looked like to me. A press conference. I'm trying to go to my thing and see. Okay, yeah, we got to get up to 700 likes, please. Can we please get up to 700 likes on the video? We're at like 650 something, 670 something or something. If we could get up to 700, please, can we get us up to 700? I really appreciate it. So let's get back to these pictures we're looking at. We were here. Oh, excuse me. No news conference planned. No one in custody. This is 3 hours ago. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos told Matt Finn with Fox News Saturday there have been no arrests. Remember, I did quote him earlier, and he was quoting the sheriff. There has been no arrest, and there is right now, no one in custody on the Nancy Guthrie case. There was a lot of activity last night. The parking lot situation, the perhaps person who unalived themselves or was murmured, all the videos and the articles are getting changed, deleted, updated, and all of that. And there was a house, there was a street shut down, but no arrests. Nancy's been missing for 2 weeks after authorities say she was abducted. Friday night saw a flurry of law enforcement at a Culver's, with members of the Pima County Sheriff's Office and FBI taking possession of a Range Rover while detaining at least 3 people. Okay, this is glitching. Let me just do a refresh here. Okay. Nancy Guthrie investigation timeline. Now, usually when I'm reading these live updates, and I'm trying to read all of them to y'all as a consolidated, okay, these are all the things that have happened, I usually kind of skip these timelines, but I actually think it's important now that we've gotten all these conflicting stories to go back and actually look at what they're trying to say this timeline is. A doorbell camera at Guthrie's home was disconnected in the early hours of the morning. Data from her pacemaker showed the app was disconnected from her phone. So somebody went in the pacemaker app and deleted it. This is the first time I think I'm hearing that. Local police were called to her home after friends expressed concerns that she didn't go to church. Upon arriving at her home, police officials realized she was missing, prompting an urgent search. Okay, I'm actually not going to even continue reading this because it's so wrong already. I can't even trust what we're reading. Neighbors of Nancy Guthrie speak out. This is from an hour ago. As the community awaits any updates in the Nancy disappearance, her neighbors have spoken out about the investigation. One neighbor, Steve Lipman, said he wished they were giving more information. He said, I think the sheriff is a very experienced veteran of law enforcement, he said. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's experienced with what this case is all about. They invited the FBI in, or the FBI came in pretty quickly, but maybe it wasn't quite quickly enough, this neighbor said. Another different neighbor, a retired attorney, David Curl, spoke with the New York Times about the search of a neighbor's home. He said the woman and sheriff's deputies knocked on his door when her home was being searched. So somebody else's house getting searched, and then they knock on his door, David. And David's like, okay. And she ended up spending the night at his house. He said after the woman's home was searched, he went with her to lock up the home. and he saw a federal warrant in the living room that said it was connected to the Nancy Guthrie case. She had no idea what they were asking about, he explained to the New York Times, adding she had no information about the disappearance or any idea why they were focusing on her house. The woman was really distraught following the search. Okay, so that was the latest update from Newsweek. Now we're going to go to CNN.com. And we're going to go all the way down to the earliest one. I'm not going to read every single one. Law enforcement activity took place near Guthrie's home last night. What happened? Law enforcement vehicles were seen last night 2 miles from Nancy's home. Roads have since reopened and law enforcement vehicles have left the site, according to a CNN producer. But here's a look at what happened. Law enforcement vehicles seen more than a dozen law enforcement vehicles, including those from SWAT and forensics, descended on one residence 2 miles from Nancy's home. Multiple roads were closed and reopened about 4 hours later. Authorities were then seen at a second location. Local authorities and the FBI also converged at a second location near where law enforcement activity was underway. It's unknown if the new location was related to the ongoing Guthrie investigation, but some people are saying that law enforcement did say it was. The official comment from authorities shortly after the law enforcement were seen converging, Pima County Sheriff's Department had a written statement on Twitter saying something we would be forthcoming, but then later they said the FBI told them don't make any statements. No indication of Nancy's whereabouts, by the way. Law enforcement sources said on Friday officials have still not identified her location or the identity of her abductor. Authorities are appealing to the public for any tips. DNA and gloves are under analysis. Investigators have found DNA at Nancy's property that does not belong to her, nor does it belong to those close to her, nor her hired workers. Several gloves have also been recovered as part of the investigation, with the furthest 10 miles from Nancy's home, according to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Details on a suspect emerged. The FBI described the suspect in doorbell footage as 5'9" to 5'10". The doorbell camera got a bunch of leads. Okay, I want to take a picture of this map too. Okay. DNA. Okay, this is from 3 hours and 52 minutes ago. DNA other than Nancy's gathered from her property. Sheriff's office says, we're working to identify who it belongs to. We're not disclosing where that DNA was located. They also addressed the pool maintenance crew. Okay, let's see what their story is. At the request of the Guthrie family, the pool maintenance crew came to take care of the pool. They're really worried about that pool. It's almost like somebody really wants to move into that house and they think that's their pool. I find that to be weird. I find that to be so weird. If my mom is missing, I feel like I would just let the pool have some leaves, unless something else is going on. I don't think the pool people cleaning company was cleaning the pools. I think they're lying. I think it was the feds looking through the pool, looking at the filter to see if anything's in there. I don't have faith in the FBI either. If the FBI conducted the raids, I would take it seriously. Cards, Hop, MD said. Since the sheriffs did it, I have no faith in it. I have no faith in not in one there, not near one, till I see them actually yield a result. I don't believe this. I do not believe the Guthrie family was so worried about a swimming pool that they demanded, in the middle of their mother's missing person and possibly murder investigation, they're worried about this freaking pool. I don't believe that. I'm telling you, I don't believe it. I'm not convinced and I don't believe it. I don't have to. However, let's say it's true. That's alarming. Priorities. Your mom is missing. She could be being tortured. She could have been unalived brutally. There's blood on her front porch and you're worrying about the pool? Who's got their eyes on that house? They want to inherit it. They want to make sure the pool is still, keeps that value up. Weird. Who's thinking about a pool at a time? Like it was raining yesterday. I think it's weird. It could have been private investigators for the family. That maybe. But they weren't about a pool. I don't know. I don't know. I don't believe it. I'm going to say that. I don't believe it. The Sheriff's Department continues to look for video related to the case as well, saying yesterday, we will send additional message to surveillance camera users in the Guthrie neighborhood via the Neighbors app. They already sent that out like a few days ago. They're going to do it again. So some experts have weighed in what experts make of the overnight law enforcement operation near Nancy Guthrie's home. After law enforcement converged at the residence near Nancy's home, the only thing that matters tonight is, did this result in any detentions? And what does that mean for finding Nancy? According to Juliet Kayyem, CNN's senior national security analyst and a professor at Harvard, law enforcement officers have not said whether anyone was detained. Yes, they have. They said no one was arrested. They did say there were some detentions. CNN reached out to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. They said it's a long time now, every day for Savannah. Oh, okay. No, this is the expert. The CNN expert said this is a long time, every day for Savannah and the family to sustain this kind of horror for that long. Retired FBI agent, another expert, said the large-scale operation suggests police had what they believe was a pretty good lead. They got information that they think is important enough to get a warrant for, to get people's hopes up for, and to expend a lot of man and woman power and emotional energy on former FBI agent. Okay, and then 4 hours, 54 minutes ago, okay, we already saw that. No news conferences planned. We knew that. What family members have said about her health. She was not in good health. The timeline, I'm not getting distracted by a timeline or a backpack. Guthrie neighbors questions if FBI involvement came in too late. So this is that neighbor, what was his name? Steve. This is Steve Littman with his Oregon hat on. The Arizona residents are wearing the Oregon hat. Okay, sure. Believable. As we reach the 2-week mark of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, her neighbors are desperate for more information from law enforcement. It's been more than a week without a news conference. Absolutely wish they were giving more information. They invited the FBI in, but did they come in quick enough? He said the neighborhood has been portrayed as a pretty remote and isolated place where, you're 10 minutes from downtown Tucson. It's spread out. It's a desert landscape. It's very difficult probably to find any type of clues. The narrow street in front of Guthrie's home has become a parking lot for local and national media in the past 2 weeks as reporters work to gather information on her disappearance. This neighbor says he doesn't feel the present is intrusive to their community. He said he thinks everybody has the same underlying wish to see Nancy home. They're here. They're really caring about this. It doesn't seem like the media is detached. I think they really, have become almost emotionally invested in this as well. And I think that's really pretty awesome because it leads to probably better reporting. Okay, shout out to him. Federal was 17 minutes ago, breaking news update from CNN. Federal warrant was executed in the investigation, but no arrests were made. Pima County Sheriff's Department confirmed a federal court-ordered search warrant. So not a local search warrant, not a state-level search warrant, a federal search warrant. This kind of makes me wonder whether the feds are going to charge somebody in this once they have enough leads that they're going to take on. You know how in the Luigi Mangione case, there's a federal case in the Southern District of New York, but then there's also a state case in New York, and then there's also a state case, or there was at least, in Pennsylvania. So I think that eventually there will be a federal case. It's just right now, just a missing persons investigation instead of they want to charge somebody with a crime at this juncture. No arrests were made during the search. The search was based on a lead that they got from the public, I guess. The Sheriff's Department said in a news release today. Law enforcement also conducted a traffic stop related to the investigation. So it has been confirmed 17 minutes ago. Again, it was related to the investigation, that traffic stop. No arrests were made. Officials have not released any additional details at this time. We do have 2 updates. Okay, so those aren't breaking news updates like that. Okay, let's start here. NBC News. This started this morning. Law enforcement activity was underway. The department confirmed there was police activity. They said a statement is forthcoming, but then they retracted and said, no, we're not going to be doing no statement. Okay, this is NBC News, their live updates. Arizona Sheriff denies reports of tension between the Sheriff's Department and the FBI. Here we had it reported, and we already learned this. I like to read through all the different sources, because sometimes there will be like one little detail here, one little detail there. But a lot of it does start to become a little redundant, but I like to make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. DNA from somebody other than Nancy and those in close contact to her has been collected from her property in the Pima County Sheriff's Office. The Pima County Sheriff's Office said last night investigators are working to identify who the mystery DNA belongs to. The official said they're not going to disclose where they found the DNA. No arrests after law enforcement activity near the home. No arrests were made. The Sheriff's Department and the FBI conducted a court-authorized, federal court-authorized search. In most cases, law enforcement will temporarily detain occupants while they search whatever the search warrant allows them to search, and while it's executed, to secure the scene and to preserve evidence. Nancy has limited mobility and she needs to take medication every single day. 13 minutes ago, breaking news update from NBC News. Authorities said last night police activity stemmed from a federal court-ordered search warrant. And to get a federal court-ordered search warrant, you need probable cause that you're going to find something specific in the house. So it has to be something specific. It's not just like, oh, we got a lead that said these people are shady. It's got to be like, I saw so-and-so had that backpack. I took a picture of it. Here it is. I think it's in his house. Something like probable cause. It's got to come from somewhere specific. It can't be an anonymous source. You cannot get a search warrant from a federal judge based on an anonymous source alone unless there is corroborating information that has been verified and can be verified. Let's not try to find the house. I don't want to get in trouble for privacy or anything. The warrant was based on a lead investigators received, according to the Sheriff's Department, during the operation. They also conducted a traffic stop. They questioned somebody, but they did not arrest. The Pima County Sheriff's Department and the FBI said they continue to work around the clock, tracking all leads in the case. No press briefings are scheduled in the case. Okay, so now we get to the Fox News of it all. 6 hours ago, Range Rover stopped in connection with the case. The driver was detained and questioned. The vehicle was taken away, and the person is no longer in custody. This is the person. FBI detains, this is 6 hours ago, Fox News, detains a man near major law enforcement operation in Nancy Guthrie case. He was detained during a traffic stop. Local law enforcement says the man was questioned in connection with the warrant. Okay, so it was in connection to that other house. It wasn't like, oh, they both connect to the Nancy case. No. It was in connection to the raid on the house. So the guy that they pulled over in the Culvers, or that they questioned the Culvers parking lot, it was in connection to the search warrant at that house. So not only do they both connect to the Nancy case, according to reports, but according to Fox News, local law enforcement source tells Fox News Digital that the man is being questioned in connection with the warrant that was served, the federal warrant. So they probably had a federal warrant for that car too, the Range Rover. Police are investigating a Range Rover at the scene, not a white van. So they took down all their reporting about that white van. That's very interesting. New image shows a partial view of the man detained in Nancy Guthrie investigation. Now he has been released. Newly obtained image shows a partial view of this man. Sources tell Fox News Digital the stop was connected to that search warrant served at a home nearby. At least 3 people were detained during the broader operation, according to local law enforcement. Authorities have not publicly identified any suspects and have not referred the man, and have not referred to the man shown in the image as a suspect. Police are investigating a Range Rover at the scene. Ex-FBI agent warns handcuffs don't mean arrests. Yeah, of course he did. If you're handcuffed and you're not free to leave, you might as well be arrested. That's my opinion. And I never worked for the feds. So you can take that as more or less credible. It's up to you. Pima County Sheriff tells Fox no arrests and no one remains in custody after Tucson. The sources told Fox News Digital at least 3 people had been detained, but they got let go. Donna Rotuno calls repeated detentions without arrest to be very strange. This is the criminal defense attorney, Donna Rotuno. She said it is very strange that the multiple people have been detained in connection with this disappearance and no arrests have been made. We saw this flurry of activity last night, and then several hours later, we find out that they brought people in and let them go. That's strange, actually. She is apparently trying to look. Everybody want to be like, oh, I'm a defense attorney. Oh, I'm a teacher. I'm a professor. But what do all the girlies end up wanting to do? Be a YouTuber. All the girlies just want to be a YouTuber. All the girlies just want to be a YouTuber. And I don't blame them. I just want to be a YouTuber too. That's why I do this. That's my job. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's like really easy to basically, let's call it what it is, shit on the work that we do. It's very easy for these mainstream media sources and these lawyers to act like, oh, she's not a real lawyer. Oh, she's not a real journalist. And I'm not a real journalist. I'm not. I mean, maybe you could say a podcaster, maybe you could say a reporter, maybe you could say a edutainer or whatever. But I don't want to be compared to these. It's a dying industry. The industry is dying, and you can see it. Even legal. This lady, she want to be a podcaster. She's over here. She's over here. She's advertising her YouTube channel coming up. Fox News podcast program coming up with Donna. So here she is advertising for it. If somebody is detained, she said, they're held for a period of time. Then they're let go. You're arrested. Normally it's longer. Arrest has to do with probable cause, and detainment has to do with reasonable suspicion. See how they like to get in the weeds? If you are handcuffed and you're not free to go, you might as well be arrested. That's the long and short of it. They like to call it detainment, detention, interrogate, investigatory, this, that, the other, boop, boop, ba-doot, doot. Okay, that's all good and fine. If you are handcuffed and you are not free to leave, you might as well be arrested. And this defense attorney would probably be arguing that if it was her client. No arrests have been made. 2 hours ago, FBI is waiting for the sheriff's lab results after several were detained and released overnight. I think they did those detentions to get DNA evidence. And look at this guy. He's taking a really high def HD picture of the side of the car. Maybe they're looking for fingerprints. I don't know if does it rain? Does the fingerprints come off? What is MG Motors? Is it MG or MD? A high-level source tells Fox News, okay, who are they citing? A high-level source. That after last night's activity in Tucson, the FBI is still waiting for the Pima County Sheriff's Department, the Sheriff Department's lab results. Remember, they sent that stuff over there to Florida, and now Savannah Guthrie's husband just landed in Florida yesterday. It's so interesting. And Scientology's headquarters is in Florida. I'm sure that has nothing to do with any of this. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos recently defended his department's use of private Florida lab, telling Fox News earlier this week that evidence was sent there early on in the case. And the FBI agreed it was best to continue sending that stuff to the Florida lab, which the Sheriff's Department has long contracted with. Wanted to do that rather than sending it to the FBI's Comprehensive Crime Lab in Quantico, Virginia. On Saturday morning, that's this morning, he's doing interviews. He won't do a press conference, but he'll talk to Fox News. I find it to be interesting. He told Fox News no arrests were made, no one was in custody. Sources told Fox News that a search warrant was executed last night at a home about 2 miles from Nancy's. At least 3 people were temporarily detained in connection to the operation. The sheriff had confirmed in an X post that law enforcement activity was underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue, related to the Guthrie case. But he added that is a joint investigation. The FBI don't want me to talk. A man was photographed in handcuffs at a nearby Culver's parking lot. Sources told Fox News Digital that he was detained in connection to a warrant that was served. He was being seen processed in the parking lot, but no charges were announced. Law enforcement also searched a Range Rover, which was towed from the parking lot. Authorities have not named any suspects or persons of interest. So let's go back to CNN. Let me see if there's any more new breaking news updates here. 29 minutes ago. Nope. Let's go to Newsweek. And see if there's any. Nope. Theirs was an hour ago. Let me refresh NBC News. Updated 21 minutes ago. Let's see. Search warrant executed last night. No press briefing scheduled today. Let's try Fox News, see if there was any updates here. Nothing for 2 or 3 hours. Okay, let me just look up like Nancy Guthrie. When did we lose our moral compass? I don't know who we is, girl, because I never lost mine. I'm coming in practically blind to this case, but there's so much weirdness about it from the little that I know. It is weird. You nailed it, BJ Card Shop MD said. You nailed it. They did it for the DNA. It seems like it to me. I don't know, but oh my God, I have so many bots in here. Y'all got to get out. Y'all got to go. But no bots allowed. Sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry at all. Nancy, we can go check out JLR Investigates as well. The New York Times has an update. It says 8 minutes ago. Yeah. Okay. So we do have some New York Times updates. Oh, yeah. Okay. They are the details queens coming in. Oh, this is from February 12th. Okay. Hold on. February 13th, 4 hours ago. Thank you, Jack Healy of the New York Times. The street 2 miles from Nancy's home that was swarmed by law enforcement vehicles late last night is now completely empty. Residents who were home say that dozens of investigators were there for about 4 hours before leaving this quiet desert neighborhood of stately homes. Look at this. It's so beautiful. Just looking at a picture of these mountains just brings me to like awe. 3 hours ago, nobody has been arrested. Nobody's in custody. The sheriff's department said after dozens of police officers were at 2 sites last night, 3 hours ago, a brief text exchange. The sheriff said investigators were serving a search warrant and just tracking down leads on Friday night. He reiterated no one had been arrested. Investigators 3 hours ago focus overnight on car and residence near Guthrie House. Investigators searching for answers in the disappearance of Nancy descended on 2 locations near her home overnight. Law enforcement officers first shut down a street to investigate a residence a few minutes drive from Nancy's home. Later, the deputies with the Pima County Sheriff's Department and personnel from the FBI swarmed a gray Range Rover at a nearby Culver's parking lot, extensively photographing the vehicle before having it towed away. At the request of the FBI, the sheriff said he's not going to give any more updates right now. But the case is being investigated as a kidnapping. A neighbor recalls investigators searching the home next to him in the Nancy Guthrie case. The investigators who swarmed an affluent so this is like a rich area of town. This is an affluent area of town near Tucson, Arizona, in connection with Nancy's disappearance, spent hours searching the home next door to David Curl, a retired lawyer who has lived in the neighborhood for 30 years. He said he and his wife had been unwinding after returning home from a 3-week vacation. When the sheriff's deputy knocked on the door with their next door neighbor, an older woman who Mr. Curl says lives with her adult son. The woman was an older woman who lives with her adult son. An older woman who lives with her adult son had her house searched last night in that neighborhood. The woman was home by herself when investigators showed up at, where's the son? Where's the adult son? Who's the adult son? Did they get DNA out of that house from the adult son? This was yesterday. Mr. Curl said there was a search warrant in an interview on his back patio on Saturday morning. He said she was not allowed to be inside her home as the investigators searched. So the woman instead spent the night at Mr. Curl's house. Once the investigators left the neighborhood in the early hours, Mr. Curl said he went next door with his neighbor to help her lock her house up. And it's this elderly lady. He said once they were there, he saw a copy of a federal search warrant in the living room. And he said the warrant mentioned the Guthrie case. She had no idea what they were asking about. Mr. Curl said of his neighbor, she had no information about the disappearance or any idea why they were focusing on her house. I wonder if that's something to do with that adult son. The woman whose house was searched declined to speak on Saturday. And it remains unclear how the search is connected with the Guthrie case. She's really distraught, the neighbor said. And this is an affluent neighborhood. She told him on Saturday afternoon that her son had been questioned and released and was now with his friends. So her son had even been questioned. That's interesting. No arrests have been made in the case. Investigators said the flurry of activity last night was just responding to some leads. The sheriff leading the investigation said that law enforcement officials have gotten more than 32,000 leads since the abduction. 20 minutes ago, and this is the New York Times, David Curl, who lives next door, said investigators searched overnight. He said the home's owner told him her son had also been questioned and released and was now with his friends. Who's from who? This is all just given culty cult. It's unclear what drew dozens of law enforcement officials to that home late Friday, and the authorities said on Saturday no one had been arrested. And this is so weird, too, because it's like, is that the mother and son that were detained, or is it something completely different? Who knows? Who freaking even knows? Don't come in here spreading misinformation. You will get blocked. Thank you so much to Maya for the $4.99. Would a federal judge sign a warrant solely for the purpose of law enforcement obtaining DNA? Is that a valid reason? Okay, so I'm going to start this answer off by saying I don't know for sure. What I understand is that you can get a DNA search warrant. And like you can say, like, I want a subpoena for their DNA, or I don't know if it would be called a search warrant or a subpoena or whatever. It's whatever the case may be, but they can subpoena someone's DNA. If the person is nowhere to be found because they're with their friends, for example, I don't know. The short answer is I don't know. But they would have to tell the judge that's what they were doing. And they would have to tell the judge why they need to go in someone's house to do it. The judge would probably ask, I mean, certainly if the judge was doing their job right, the judge would ask, have you tried to obtain this voluntarily? Have you tried to obtain this DNA in another way? The judge would then only allow them to be in the house long enough to get something with the DNA on it, so they could subpoena his toothbrush or something. The fact they were in there for hours tells me that they had probable cause to search that house. Not just to get the DNA, but the people that they brought in to the station and detained them and asked them questions and stuff, I think they could have been doing that. Could have been to get their DNA. Maybe they drank out of a cup. Maybe they whatever. Again, who knows? And thank you so much for the $4.99. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. Long story short, I really don't know. But I think they would still, I mean, I know for sure they have to have a probable cause that the specific thing they are looking for is most likely in that house or likely to be found in the house. They did say they had a search warrant. So this isn't the exigency of the circumstances thing. If it's so exigent, then they can do a no-knock warrant. They can bust the door down. So it's been years since I studied this too, y'all. I'm not an expert. If you would rather to be listening to the experts, please do. This is my commentary channel. But from what I understand, even if they were using the warrant to get DNA from inside a house, it still would have to say that's what they were looking for. It would have to be narrowly tailored to the thing that they think they're going to find in the house, unless it's in what's called plain view. Like if the feds are in the house looking for DNA and they see a pew with blood all over it, then they can pick that up and put it in the bag if it's in plain view. But if they were in the house to get DNA and they went all the way, up and down and all over the place and through all the file cabinets and everything, it kind of starts to be like you went a little wider than the scope. Or if they start taking all the electronics out of the house, that's not DNA, for example. That's my understanding. Let's go to Brian Enton. Twitter and see what he's over there. Oh, I don't follow him. That's interesting. He's over there on the ground, boots on ground. So let's see what he's been saying this morning. Okay, 10 hours ago, we'll start there. Pima County Sheriff's Office has no news conference or update. The Range Rover is also being investigated and now being towed away. A lot of moving parts right now. And look, they do have, what are they doing here? They're wiping. They're wiping for DNA. They're wiping for fingerprints. What? Why are they wiping? They're showing the flashlight. They're pointing. Interesting to say the least. He said the Pima County Sheriff tells local KOLD last night, last night's operation was, quote, nothing more than a lead tracked down that led to a search warrant and no arrest. Just tracking down leads, no arrests, no signs of Nancy. That's what the Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos just told me about last night. While there are no arrests, I'm told investigators are still interested in leads from last night. It's all ongoing. 2 hours ago, he tweeted, staying on top of what happens today. Also, get ready for News Nation special at 8 p.m. Going to go through everything we know from start to finish on Nancy's disappearance. He said Pima County Sheriff said last night's activity was a federal search warrant based on a lead they received. The traffic stop is also connected, but there's no arrest in either. So now let's go to JLR Investigates Twitter and see what he's hearing from on the ground over there on the scene. Okay. So 5 hours ago, he said, good morning, on the hunt today, going back to the scene where multiple people were detained. Where is Nancy? I'm shocked. No law enforcement at their house. No law enforcement in the neighborhood. No crime scene tape. Neighbors tell me this is the house. No one at the home. What's going on here? Where's Nancy? This is the one they apparently went into last night. I'm not trying to sit in front of Nancy's home for years. Yeah, the sheriff said that it could be a years-long case. They could be tracing this case down for years. It's literally a circus in front of Nancy's house. Look at that. And then these neighbors, like, I mean, they're like, I don't even know if any of these neighbors are neighbors at this point. He said it's wild that people can be ripped out of their homes by the SWAT team, have their vehicles towed, and be held for hours based off a tip. A 50-year-old woman, they said she was elderly. I don't know. A 50-year-old woman with no criminal history was ripped out of her home last night with her son based off a tip. I don't know if that's the same people who were the father or who were the son. No, because the son was at his friend's house. So there might be two moms and two sons in Tucson. Okay, let me see what else is going on here with the Nancy Guthrie updates. Let's see if we have any live breaking news updates here. We have one new update from CNN. Oh, I'm not covering that. That's a PR push. I'm not covering that stupid fucking yellow flower bullshit. No offense, but like I don't do PR pushes if I can help it. My sponsor rate is $3,333 if you want me to talk about your dumb flowers. Range Rover SUV was seized overnight. Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, so there's one other topic that I wanted to talk about, and it was like last night, it was being reported that the mother and the son who were arrested were actually maybe renters. And the house they were living in was owned by a guy by the name of John or something Green. And this guy is really connected. He's like an attorney general or something, former attorney general, district attorney or something. I want to look more into that. I know my mom was sending me leads and updates and stuff. I want to look more into that before I go over it. Just because like I don't want to be throwing people's names and pictures out around here. Yeah, I did see this. Stay Selena said BJ Fox News released a video almost an hour ago saying the ransom note said prepare to go international. I think they have already gone international, considering this has been suspected to be going into the, beyond the Mexico border, the United States-Mexico border. So I think they've already been treating it as pretty much like an international thing. Mother and son plus a guy in a car. They have everything in their hands now. Why aren't they arresting anyone is really the main question. It's really the main question. Well, I've been on here for almost 3 hours now. I do want to go look more into that John Green guy, and then the guy that was arrested, last name maybe was Green. Very interesting to me. But I don't want to make too many, statements and stuff without the full facts. So I need to research that. If anything else happens today, I may come back on live or I may make a video. I'll keep you updated. Make sure you're following my Twitter. That's where I do, repost a lot of these things that I find and that other people are saying. So that's Surprise Witness over there. And that's all I really had for this. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Neither are opinions. All these people are innocent until proven guilty. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.